And we are live. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You know we got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over social media, all over the mainstream media, and all over the streets. We got a whole lot happening. We got to talk about the elephant in the room. I can't avoid it, obviously. The issues going on right now in Washington, D.C. Now, the way the media are reacting, you would think that the A-bomb got dropped in Japan. You understand? Now, I'm not saying what happened was good, but was it that bad? I'm not really sure. But we'll talk about that tonight. There's other things going on. I mean, you got the Senate runoff in Georgia, which didn't go our way. You have Kamala Harris and the whole what's that? The plagiarism kerfuffle and a few more things. The quote unquote fine votes call with the Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger. But the main thing, of course, is going to be the whole scenario with Washington, D.C. We'll get into that. We're definitely going to get into it. And I thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. It's a packed house already, so this is going to be a really hot topic. I'm going to give my 2 cents on it. I've been talking a lot on Twitter today. I put a post on Instagram about it, but I'm going to talk a lot today about what's going on. I'll give you guys my 2 cents straight from the heart. So y'all just hang tight, strap in, and get ready because we're going to get rocking and rolling real soon on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And again, I thank y'all for joining. You guys could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show. Thank y'all again. I'm not in DC, obviously. I'm at my house chilling. I'm at the crib. You know, before I even begin, rest in peace to the young lady that died. Her name, let me get her name right quick just to make sure I'm right. Her name was, let me see.
We do want to bring you some breaking.
Matter of fact, I have it right here. I'm going to just go ahead and play it. I'm going to play this straight from the beginning, and then we're going to get into it. All right. And let me see. Can I get a desktop? Let's go ahead and get the desktop. And there we go. Boom.
News right now. The woman who was shot and killed inside the U.S. Capitol today during the riots was actually from San Diego. KUSI, we have spoken with her husband, and he tells us, Ashley Babbitt, that's her name. She was a 14-year veteran. She served 4 tours with the U.S. Air Force and was a high-level security officer throughout her time in service. Her husband says she was a strong supporter of President Trump and was a great patriot to all who knew her.
I'm going to run it back a little bit. So I saw the volume was kind of low. I'll run it back just in case you didn't hear it.
The woman who was shot and killed inside the U.S. Capitol today during the riots was actually from San Diego. KUSI, we have spoken with her husband, and he tells us, Ashley Babbitt, that's her name. She was a 14-year veteran. She served 4 tours with the U.S. Air Force and was a high-level security officer throughout her time in service. Her husband says she was a strong supporter of President Trump and was a great patriot to all who knew her.
All right, so you have that right there. That's on my Twitter. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and retweet it so you can see it on my Twitter page if you want to see the full video or you get the full source, not just from me, but investigate it yourself. But there's a whole lot going on. Now, people are all over the place. They're saying, you know, it wasn't a peaceful protest. It was a riot. It was an insurrection. The reactions to this have been all over the place. Now, my point of view has always been, you guys know it. People call this show and say, hey, ABL, you know, the thing with the voting is not really going right. We need to do something else. We need to figure out a different way. And I've always been that guy that's been anti-violence. And I'm going to keep that same energy tonight. I'm not going to just all of a sudden be a different person tonight because I feel like it's the right thing. Nah, I'm an anti-violence person, period. That's just how I roll. So if you're looking for that from me, then you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm not that kind of guy. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. But people that were in favor of BLM and Antifa, so you know, having a so-called peaceful protest, which are always riots and insurrectionist type behavior for the past year, well, really for a lot longer than that, ever since Barack Obama in 2000. and 2015 with Ferguson, Missouri, Baltimore, Maryland, you would see a new quote unquote protest spark up every other day. And it'd be some, Papa John's getting burned down, Target getting burned down, all kind of stuff, right? That's going all over the nation, and that's not really a big deal. If you want to say something about it, then you're a racist, then you are a hater, then you're somebody that does not appreciate freedom and freedom of speech, all this, that, and the third. But in this situation, was it wrong? I think it was wrong to go into the Capitol. Well, I put it to you like this. I don't think it was fruitful at all, because what did they really do? But I'll get to that in a minute. The issue is that this whole thing with the Capitol, was it as bad as the other incidences of BLM and Antifa? I mean, was it really? I don't think that it was. Not in the least bit. I mean, and if it was, I like somebody to really just break it down for me and tell me how it was worse than what BLM and Antifa do. Was it worse than Chaz Chop, where 2 black teenagers died at the hands of BLM and Antifa? Was it worse than the Portland siege lasted for like 100 or more days? It's still kind of going on right now. Was it worse than the Atlanta, Georgia occupation of that Wendy's where Rayshard Brooks got killed after he ran off and tried to shoot the police with a taser, where a little girl by the name of Sequoia Turner got shot and killed, a little black girl got killed by other black people? Was that the equivalent to what happened in Washington, D.C. today? You know, the news media, I'm talking about Fox News, Clinton News Network, MS13 DNC, barely even covered the Sequoia Turner story. I covered it extensively. A lot of my friends covered it extensively here on the YouTubes, but the mainstream media barely touched it. All right. Now, in this situation, because of the scope and the magnitude and who it involves, the president and allegedly Trump supporters, then they want to cover it from the window to the wall, and they don't want to cover anything else. I wonder why. So that's a big part of the reason why I say it was bad. Not only because it was not fruitful, but because they're using that against us. Now, oh, you Trump supporters, you're out here and you're violent. First of all, it's hard to even be armed in DC. You can't have guns in DC. Now, if you guys have any pictures of anybody armed in DC, I'd love to see it, because you can't have guns. That's one thing that you got to know. If you got a long gun or any kind of gun on you, I mean, that's federal time right there, because if you get locked up in DC, it's all federal. So you go into the penitentiary immediately. So you just can't do it. So people talking about, oh, they're armed and white privilege. It's just silly. What they did inside the actual Capitol was not needed. And I think a lot of that was egged on by Antifa. Antifa and BLM have been in DC since March. They've not really left DC. You know, remember the whole thing about the Black House, Occupy the Black House, that was going on with Antifa and BLM? That's still happening. I was in DC a few months ago, and you had things still boarded up. What was I in DC? Like in October? Things were still boarded up from the summertime stuff. So things are still boarded up. You were still seeing Antifa remnants, BLM remnants out there. Some of our friends that were out there in October. And by the way, we had a march and a rally in October with 2,000 people, all peaceful, no problems at all. It was beautiful, magnificent, marvelous. It was great, right? But now all of a sudden, when you got a Trump supporter march that devolves into chaos and you fighting the police, come on. But anyway, Antifa and BLM have not left DC. And they knew that you're going to have Trump supporters come down to DC on the 6th. And they're going to have a protest. So what better way than to make us look terrible than to be in the mix with the actual protesters, the peaceful people, and then egg us on to violence? What better way to do it than the way that they may have done it this time? Now, I don't have any clear evidence that Antifa and BLM, official members, however you can be official, I don't really know, but I don't have clear evidence of them being in the crowd. But what I do know is that Antifa and BLM have been in DC for a very long time. Did they vanish today? Why would they not be there today when they knew that you would have Trump supporters there, when they don't like Trump, when they hate Trump supporters, anybody that is on the right? Why would they not be there today? Why would they just leave when they've been there throughout this entire time? Like I said, things were still boarded up back in October and November of 2020. So why wouldn't they be there 2 months later? It doesn't make any sense. So I think, here's what I think. I think Antifa got into the mix and were amping some of the more, how can I say, more energetic Trump supporters up to go into the Capitol, right? But like I said, you're going to be hard pressed to find anybody that's armed in the bunch because you can't have guns in D.C. Now, I think they said they arrested 13 people. 13 people. The way the media were saying it was like this is a armed insurrection and they burned the White House down. They arrested 13 people, and they said they recovered some guns. They recovered, I think it was like 5 handguns and 3 long guns, something like that. If I'm wrong about the specific number of guns they recovered, let me know in the comments below. But what I will say is this. If they got guns, where did they get the guns? Did they get the guns in these guys' cars? Did they get them outside? Like, did they get them when it just arrested them on the scene? Where were the guns recovered if they got guns at all? That's my question. So I feel like a lot of this was just, it was done in a way to make us look bad. I'm not a fan of doing this. It was not useful. That's my next thing I want to get to. It was not useful because at the end of the day, they're back in the chamber right now, 8 o'clock. Okay? The young lady passed away, may she rest in peace. They wiped that blood up and they right back in there working. Tim Scott put a tweet up just a little while ago saying he back to work. And they got the guard with them. So what's up? They got the National Guard with them. So all of that was for nothing because they right back doing what they're doing. Matter of fact, here's a tweet right here. Let me go ahead and just get this a proper way. Okay, hold on. If I can just, there we go. And here's the tweet. Let me just, there it is, right from Tim Scott, back to work. So he's taking the picture. If you guys are not watching the screen, if you listen to audio only, Tim Scott is taking a picture as he's walking up some stairs, and you see guys in suits and whatnot, Congress guys, and right in front of them you have the FBI, the federales, in fatigue with helmets on, the whole thing, Kevlar, the whole 9 yards. So they're going to be ready for anybody to try to come back and do something crazy. If anybody's holed up in the Capitol, which they're not because they already secured it, this is not a game. This is a federal building. You get caught in there doing something crazy, you going big rocks, little rocks. So all that they did by going into the Capitol was a brief interruption of the proceedings. All right. Trump himself deployed the National Guard. And Trump said that this violence you're not really for. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play Trump's talk that he put on Twitter, which got deleted, by the way. I'll talk about Pence. I will talk about Pence. Y'all, I'm going to get to it. Y'all just hang in there. All right. So Trump's not a fan of this at all. If people might kind of criticize me for not being a fan of what happened, for saying that it's wrong, which it was wrong, but Trump was not a fan either. And people want to blame Trump for the whole thing happening. And it's kind of hard for people to not blame Trump because Trump was the one that advertised the rally, and he was the one that said, march down to the Capitol. Now, obviously, he did not say storm the Capitol or do anything crazy or try to fight the police. All right. Obviously, he didn't say that, but they're going to say since he promoted the rally, then it's his fault. All right. Now, I won't say that it was his fault, but that's what they're going to say. That's what the media will say. And that's what someone on the left, someone on the right, pardon me, are going to say that, oh, Trump did it. It's his fault. He should be the one that's blamed. And you're going to be having a hard time fighting against it because it won't be a one-way thing as far as people that are blaming him for what happened. All right. Yeah, I think it was Antifa, Kenworth. I think it was Antifa that was involved with it. That I think Antifa, what they did was they stoked a lot of the tension and the tussling and whatnot with the police. Trump supporters generally like the police. You want to give them a hug. You really don't want to fight them. It doesn't even matter what's going on because that what's happening with the election is not the fault of the police. The police are there to do their job. So why would you try to fight the police? That's what Antifa and BLM do. The whole ACAB thing, that's what Antifa and BLM are on, not us. So it makes sense for them to fight the police because they always fight the police. Anytime you see one of these Antifa and or BLM quote unquote protests get out of control, they're fighting the police. This is their MO, not our MO. But here's a talk from Trump. And by the way, this video that I'm going to play, which has him calling for peace, got deleted from Twitter. The video was gone. First, what they did before I play it, was just limit distribution. So you couldn't like it, retweet it, comment, or anything like that. It was just out there. You had to go to his page and look at it that way. Maybe you could do a quote tweet, but you really couldn't do too much of anything with the video because they put a warning that said this tweet has been limited because it may incite violence. I don't think that's the case. Now I'm going to play this and I'll point out what they're probably pointing at as him trying to incite violence, although he's trying to just tell people to go home and be peaceful. Let's go ahead and play it right now.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
All right, so there you have it. There you have it. That's straight from Trump on his Twitter, which was, like I said, it was deleted earlier today. Now, here's the thing. They're going to say that he kept pushing the narrative about the election being stolen and that he understands why you feel that way. It was stolen from you. It was stolen from me. So then they're going to say, oh, Trump's trying to he's trying to encourage the violence because he says that the election was stolen. But that's the elephant in the room. See, it didn't take Trump to say that it was stolen for us to believe it. People kind of got it twisted. They think that, Trump supporters just hang on to whatever he says and believe whatever he says. People were saying the whole thing about the cheating long before the election. I was saying that because the whole thing with voter ID. I was like, you know what? What they're going to try to do with voter ID is restrict, not restrict. They're going to try to cheat that way because there's no restrictions, basically. You could just have any old body come in there and vote. Because there's no way to prove who you are. I could say, my name is Bill Gates, and I want to come in here and vote, and I don't got no ID. So what's up, man? Let me vote right now. And they say, okay, go ahead and go for it. Because I was saying from the beginning, they want to have that door open if they need it to go cheat. So I was suspecting this long before the election even happened. And a lot of us thought the same thing. So you didn't necessarily have to have Trump come out and say it for us to believe it. But that's what they think. They think that since he said it, that's going to incite us to believe it. And we're going to go out there and commit, quote unquote, more violence. But my question is this. What violence did we commit? Aside from pushing and shoving, where was the actual, the lady that got shot allegedly was shot by the police. I don't think that any Trump supporter shot her. Why would they shoot her? It wasn't anybody in there except for people that were purported to be Trump supporters and the police. Now, I think you also had Antifa in there. So if they were in there, maybe it could have been them, but it was probably the police. Because like I said, it's in DC. It's really kind of hard to get guns into DC. So I think it was the police that did it. I don't know why. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe the lady was a threat. I have no idea why. We're still kind of early in the game. But my whole point is that we were not, just engaging in the sheer violence and whatnot that the left always does. We're engaging in lawlessness, or those that were in there. I don't want to say quote unquote we, because I don't know who was in there. But people were in there engaging in lawlessness, but not to the extent of an Antifa or a BLM. So that's just what that is. But they want to say that he is inciting things. He is the one that did it. And Twitter suspended Trump's account for, I think, 12 hours. They're going to end up deleting it. The reason why they haven't deleted his account yet is because he's the president. And you can't delete, if you delete a sitting president's account, it's going to be a wrap. Now, if it goes to Trump and Pence losing and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden getting in there, then they're definitely going to delete it because there's no more shield that Trump has of being the president. He'll just be a common citizen. Not a common citizen, you understand, but he will be a civilian and he won't be the president anymore. So then they just can do whatever they want at that point because it won't be this big backlash from, the federal government level. It'll just be a backlash from the people, and they don't care about that. They know that they're censoring us. They know that they are trying to, silence our voices. It doesn't even really matter to them. They're going to do that regardless of what's going on. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I was a guy that was not really in favor of the alternative media sources because I say, you know what? Ain't no point in leaving. I still say that. I still say there's no point in running away from Twitter because if you leave Twitter and go to a Parler or a Gab or somewhere like that, if you do that, then that's what they want. They really just want to purge all Trump supporters off the platform. So it'd just be them and their pronouns talking to each other about cats and stuff like that. Okay, it'd be them and 85 pronouns in the bio talking about whatever. That'd be what's going on. But since that's not going to be the case, well, let me back up a little bit. That could be the case, but I don't think that it should be the case because we need to still be there getting people that aren't really on our side yet back on our side or on our side for the first time. We need to do that. We need to be changing hearts and changing minds. You can't do that off in an echo chamber by yourself. Okay, they'll have their echo chamber where no ideas are getting challenged, where nothing is getting debunked. They'll just be in there believing whatever they want to believe. See, I like having all the information from the left and the right. Now, sometimes there's misinformation on the left and the right, but once you can look at all sides and follow who you want to follow that'll give you good information without having the big tech oligarchs dictating to you who to follow, who not to follow. Once you can do that, then you're better able to find the good information. But if there's no ability to have both sides on the platform, on a major platform, then you can't really do much. Now, I will say this. I think that you're going to have other platforms rise up that are not just going to be for one side. It'll be for people in general. That's going to be the case because MySpace was that platform. A lot of you guys are kind of young, might not even know about MySpace. MySpace was a place you could do that for everybody. And then when that went away, here comes Facebook to take up the slack. Here comes Twitter to take up the slack. Here comes all these other platforms, Instagram take up the slack. That'll just be how it is. And it's usually kind of an organic thing. I think that's next. I'm not really sure how long Facebook and Twitter can do this and sustain themselves. Because if everybody's gone from a platform that has a different point of view, where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in going back and forth and having debates and discussions and all of that good stuff? That's not going to be there anymore. If they kick off Trump, there's going to be a lot of people that are leaving with him on the left and the right. So I think that you're going to have other platforms that come about. And that's essential because Twitter can't just be this lone wolf arbitrating everything that they deem to be right or wrong or indifferent. It can't be that way. So I think you're going to have places like Parler and other platforms be built up because of that reason. My only hope would be you have, the left and the right on it and not just one side on either place. I don't want to see Twitter become a left-wing echo chamber, nor do I want to see Parler remain as a right-wing echo chamber. I want to see everybody on one so we can exchange ideas, have debates, and have discussions without it being, the people that run it trying to dictate who's going to win, who's going to lose. That's not something I'm into at all. All right. Now, let's talk about Mike Pence right quick, because you guys talking about Pence, talking about he's a snake, all this and that. I don't agree with that. Ask you a question right here. What can Pence do legally to help Trump right now in a situation? I asked that question. And then when I ask that question, a lot of times I get kickback and they say, oh, how are you going to ask that question? You're a traitor, ABL. No. I don't know. See, me, I'm going to always give you the facts, period. If I don't know the facts, I'm going to say, you know what? I don't know about that one. I don't have the answer to that question. So I'm going to ask, what can Mike Pence do? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but I do want to get an answer. What I was told earlier is that he can send it back to the states and then they have to decide on it. All right, so let's just say he sends the decision to certify the election back to the states, and then they certify it and, bring it back. And you are back in the chambers going through the exact same thing again today as you did today next week. So what's the point in doing that? What would be the point of him sending it back if it's going to come back the exact same way? So if it comes back the same way, then what? Then what? He can't really do much. His powers are very limited, according to the law. And if I'm wrong about the law, please let me know in the comments below. Give me the law that I'm wrong on. Give me something that I can sink my teeth into that would say, hey, ABL, here's what he can do. He can subvert the election if he wants to. He can get the election right. And here's something else. If Pence has the ability to change the outcome of the election based upon what we know, like, I'm not sitting here saying that the cheating didn't happen. Of course, I believe that it did. But I believe you got to be able to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt, like anything else, because the other side got to do the same thing. The other side says that they're cheated. Prime example, Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams still says to this day that she was cheated in the 2018 election against Brian Kemp for the governor of Georgia, right? She says she was cheated. Okay, Stacey Abrams, where's your evidence though? You can have that opinion and that's fine, but you got to be able to prove it. It can't be up to somebody to just change it for you. You got to be able to prove it. Now, in this case, I believe that there was some fraud going on. I believe there was regularities going on, but we got to have that rock solid proof, because in 2024, what could happen if Pence does that, which he may not be able to do legally, but if he does do that and changes it, what happens in 2024 when the same thing happens to us? Or how about, let's say 2028, if Trump were to get in there 4 more years, in 2028, you have a Democrat who is finishing their the first term, trying to get reelected, and then there's a challenge. The Democrats say, "Oh no, you didn't win. There's cheating going on, and we're going to have our guy come in there, and we're gonna undo it." It can't. Is that how we want things to be? I'm not really sure we do want things to be that way. So I'm just trying to figure out what Mike Pence can do legally that would help Trump right now. And I understand Trump's frustration at Mike Pence, but I think it's improper for him to say that Mike Pence does not have the courage to do anything. Was it a courage thing or was it a legal thing? Because from what I heard, Mike Pence was like, hey, I have no power to do anything here. Mike Pence might want to do something there, but he can't really do anything. It's the same thing with the senators. They can object, but it's largely ceremonial. I wish that it was more than that, but it's not. They can object, but what does it really mean when it boils down to it? All that you really can say, all you really can do is get the hardcore physical evidence and present that. Now, the question, what is hardcore physical evidence? That's a good question. I'm not a lawyer, but you got to have enough to go to the courts and then have that whole thing play out. Trump appointed Supreme Court justices and federal judges, and they're not, playing ball with it. So it's like, what more can you do? You have your own guys and girls in there. You have some evidence, but it's not enough. That's it. Now, I think that you're going to have a big discovery process that'll last for years, because remember this. I don't think people that say there's no evidence of any kind of voter fraud are correct, because the whole Russiagate thing took 3 years. 3 years, $40 million, 500 subpoenas. It took a long time, a lot of resources and energy and all of that. People's lives got ruined, uprooted, all of that. It took 3 years to come up with a goose egg, a nothing burger, right? So if that took 3 years to come up with that result, why does the election interference or fraud or cheating, why does that take like a week or two? They look at it like this. They look at it, all right, no fraud. And that's not right. There should be a more extensive look into the election to see what's going on with it. If it took 3 years to figure out Russiagate, why would it take 3 hours to figure out the 2020 election? It doesn't make any sense to me. But what can Mike Pence do, or anybody in the House or anybody in the Senate do to help with that action? That'll really be something that helps. That's beyond the ceremonial thing. That's what I want to know. And if anybody has questions, if anybody can answer that, I'd love to hear it. I'm reading the comments. I want to see what someone can say about that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not ashamed to say if I'm wrong. I'm not ashamed to say I don't know a thing. I'm always asking for questions, asking for answers to questions. I'm never going to say I know everything, because I don't know everything. I'm a news reporter. I'm a commentator, but I'm not some kind of omnipotent being. I'm just not that person. All right. So, I don't think it's right to call him a snake if we don't have evidence of him being able to do a thing that we want for him to do. We want him to do a certain thing, but if he cannot do that legally, then is that his fault? So it is what it is. Okay, somebody says I'm wrong. What am I wrong about? You got to tell me what I'm wrong about and break it down for me. Okay, you sold us out, but how? Let me see. Now, I think that there's a lot of overreaction to be shared all over the place. I don't think that this whole thing with Biden and the Democrats is going to be the end of us. I think that we still got a lot of steam behind us. You got 75 million people that voted for Trump, or probably more than that. If you go through all the cheating if you investigate all the cheating, you probably have more votes than that. So there's still quite a bit of us that are conservative, that are Republican, that are going to push things forward. You can't just say, oh, all is lost. The Democrats didn't do that in 2016 when they lost. They didn't do that. They kept on trucking, and here they are right now. Now, they probably did some unscrupulous things to get here, but that's aside from the point. The point is that they did not give up. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Just keep fighting. It's going to be a constant fight. And I think everybody knew when Trump got elected that it was going to be a constant fight because Trump was not part of the plan. Here's the reality of the whole situation. People want to blame Trump and want to attack Trump, saying, oh, he's the reason why they lost in Georgia. Listen, if not for Trump, you would have had Hillary Clinton for 8 years, period. I like Ben Carson. I like Ted Cruz. I like Marco Rubio, all these guys that ran for president. I like Rand Paul, all these guys. But nobody was going to be able to defeat Hillary Clinton. Do you understand that she had way more money than anybody on the right? Double the money that Trump had. She was also a career politician that everybody knew, from Slick Willie. She had so much power, so much cachet in D.C. The media was on her side. Everybody was on her side. Even some Republicans were on her side. Paul Ryan and these guys were on her side, right? She was supposed to be the golden child. She was supposed to win. And then Trump comes in there and tears the whole plan up. Now, she looked raggedy and janky, all this and that when she was running, but it didn't matter. Joe Biden looked even more raggedy and janky, and you see what's going on right now. He could possibly become the next president. It was slated for Hillary Clinton to win, and then here comes Donald Trump out of nowhere to change the whole game up like a bull in a china shop and just disrupt everything, to be that good agent of chaos that we need. They did not expect that. So if not for him, Hillary Clinton would have been the president, and you wouldn't have Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett. And some would say, well, they didn't look out for the president, but you got to look forward years down the line. This is a lifelong appointment, not just for right now. Oh, they didn't vote the way I went. Okay, what about 30 years from now, 40 years from now? You got to play that long game. Okay, you got to play that long game. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. The Capitol thing, I'm totally against it. I think that it was unnecessary. It didn't do anything. All it did was pause the proceedings temporarily. It didn't stop it. It didn't do anything. It was something that it didn't do anything positive. What it did was something negative. All they're going to talk about on the news is this for the next month. And you know how regular normies are. They believe whatever they see on CNN, CNBC, MS13 DNC, they believe whatever they hear. So they're going to hear that over and over again and then have that be granted to their mind. Oh, Trump supporters, they're violent, they're racist. None of that is true at all. The Capitol thing did not prove that, but the media will spin it in a certain way to make us look bad. Now, I will say this. Whatever the right does, we look bad according to what the media will say. That's just a fact. Okay, it could have been just a regular march with no Capitol quote unquote invasion. Just a regular march, we would have looked bad. They're gonna take whatever we do, make it look bad, and not so much for their side. Not so much for their side. You got even Fox News acting like the Capitol got burned down, like it's 1812 or whatever the case may be, or the Boston Tea Party or something like that. Meanwhile, you have Black Lives Matter burning up cities all over the nation, going back to 2014, 2015. Ferguson, Missouri, Baltimore, Maryland, Portland, Oregon, free out of Washington, parts of Atlanta, all over the place. You got all kind of riots, people getting shot at, beat up, stabbed, all of that. That's going all over the nation. And then when it happens, it's like no coverage. You had not one, but two black teenagers shot by Antifa and free out of Washington at Chaz Chop. It was crickets from the media, crickets. Fox News may have covered it a little bit, but they had the boy's father on. That was good. But it wasn't much from the media. It was crickets. It was guys like me and some of my friends here on the YouTubes and Facebooks and Instagrams that were covering it, not the mainstream media, because they don't want to make their side look bad. So we already know that's going to be the case. But when we do the whole Capitol thing, although it's not anywhere near as bad as Chaz Chop and the 100 Days in Portland, they're going to make it seem like it's worse than the American Revolution. Not saying that it was a bad thing, the revolution, but you understand what I'm saying. They're going to make it look like some kind of military strike. That's how they're going to do. And you're going to see that in the next few days, weeks, months. But you know what? I guess the bright side of a bad situation, when they do that, when they make this whole thing get blown out of proportion, when they do that, what they're going to do is alert more people that there's something wrong with the coverage. Because if somebody hears about what BLM and Antifa do, right? If they hear about that and then they see what happened with us and then they see how it's covered, they're going to be like, wait a minute, that's not equal coverage. Something's going on. And then that's that red pill moment that might wake you up out of your sleep and you might go to the other way. Hopefully that's what happens. But a lot of us, like I said, we're normies. You can be pretty much just led by the nose, led by the tail, and led to believe whatever they want us to believe. So it is what it is. All right. But thank y'all again for being here. I appreciate you guys. If you like what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up, share the video, like the video, do all that good stuff. All right. Yeah, but see, I don't like people that say Pence caved or Republicans caved. The question is, what can they do legally, specifically? Because I don't know all the rules. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all the rules. I'm not an expert in this. You know, I'm a news guy, political commentator. That's my role. That's what I do. I don't know. I'm not a Capitol Hill guy that just reads everything. I read a lot now. Don't get that twisted. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So I want to know what they can do that they didn't do legally. I don't want to know what we think that they should do. I want to know what they can do legally up under the law. All right, because you got to have certain laws that prevent you from going above what you should be able to do. Because if you don't, then the other side could use it against us. Because what if they say, you know what, I think Trump, he's an illegitimate president. I think it wasn't right. Although we have a bigger argument on our side and they have none, but it doesn't matter. They could still say it and then use some of the same things against us that we use against them. If the laws are not really tight like they are. But if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Hey, somebody said that I caved. What can I do? How can I cave if I can't do anything? All I could do is vote. What power do I have to change the election? I could say that there was fraud and there was cheating. I can say that, but what can I do? These guys that went into the Capitol, what did they do? Nothing. They went there and embarrassed Trump and embarrassed a lot of us. But Tim Scott is back in the Capitol right now. Get ready to work. Right now, as I'm talking, they're back in there with the FBI. So what was the point? People always, they call into the channel sometimes and they say, hey, ABL, we got to do something else, man. It's not really working. I'm like, all right, what you going to do? Well, I'm like, all right, 1776. Then what? I get crickets. And it's the same thing happened today. That's what I've been saying. That's why I always say, man, I want to do things that make sense, not things that don't make any sense. And I'm anti-violence, period. So, but thank y'all again for being here. The question is, what do we do next? That is a good question, Luke. That's a very good question. What do we do next? I mean, all you can do is abide by the law. If we say we're law and order like Trump says, all you can do is abide by the law. If you feel like people that are in office aren't doing the right thing according to what they can do, then you got to get them out. If you feel like you're politically inclined, you can run, you run. Get a team behind you, get some money, and you run. Primary some people if you got to, and change the party. Somebody said we could do a third party, but there's plenty of third parties. There's a lot of parties in America. There's a lot of parties. I mean, and what you don't want to happen is a Ross Perot type situation where you just split the vote and had a Democratic Party win. That's how George H.W. lost the second term, because Ross Perot came in, did the whole third party thing, and he split the vote between him and George W. And that's how Slick Willie got in there. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But I think I'm right, because Reagan was 82 and 80. He was 80 and 84. 88, HW wins. 92, he loses against Slick Willie because Ross Perot split the vote. And then you have Slick Willie. You got that guy for 2 terms. And from Slick Willie, we have Hillary Clinton. You see how this goes? So you got to think long game, because the 1988 situation it paved the way for what's happening right now, 30 some odd years later. That's how this whole thing goes. Okay. So what else we got going on? But it's a whole lot happening here. I know that was kind of a rant for like a good 40 minutes, but that was on my chest. And I know I'm going to get a lot of good calls later on in about 20 minutes about the whole situation. And I really look forward to it. I really do. I really, really do. But let's talk about the Georgia Senate runoff elections right quick. Just right quick. So, of course, you guys know that Ossoff won, and so did Raphael Warnock, the two Democrats. Here's the thing about that. People are trying to blame Trump for that. They're saying that Trump is the reason why they lost. I mean, the reason why the Republicans lost in those races, because he's saying how fake the election was and he's discouraging a turnout. I don't think it's that. I think that you have a demographic shift happening in Georgia and other parts of the country as well. And when I say that, I don't mean race. Don't get that confused. I don't want nobody to try to clip this and be like, ABL said black folks did it. No. Because if you saw the exit polls from the 2020 presidential election, Trump won in every special interest group, every racial group, black men, black women, white women, Hispanic men, Hispanic women. The only group he didn't do well in, he actually lost in, was white males. Why? A lot of white liberal males are starting to vote the other way because of Black Lives Matter. That's what I think is going on. Because when you see a BLM rally, who you see out there? Do you see a bunch of black guys out there? Like the most you're going to see as far as anybody black at a BLM rally is like 30%, 40%, maybe in Atlanta or some kind of high black population area. But for the most part, these rallies are like 90% white male. That's a fact. And I think that is a big reason, behind what's going on. A lot of these cities let these BLM riots just play out. And then the narrative from the big tech oligarchs and the mainstream media was, they're just fighting for racial injustice and for LGBTQ and for disabled people. Like, if you're black, it's like a disability. Being black is like having a bum leg or something, but I digress. The point is that they hammered their point home about being black and trying to fight for your rights, and George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all this, that, and the third. I think that is what kind of swayed it. Okay. And then also the actual demographic shift. Georgia is growing really big, and it's growing in Atlanta. Okay. I live right here close to Georgia. I live like about an hour and a half from Marietta. Okay. So I can be down. I'll go to Atlanta a lot. And when I go to Atlanta, I go to downtown. What do I see? I'm seeing gentrified people walking their dog. I'm not seeing people that look like me a lot in downtown, like, really living it up. The days of them franchise boys and the rappers and the strip club in the early 2000s are long gone. Now you got guys moving down there like it's Austin, Texas. That's what's happening in Atlanta. So you have a shift. The Texas election was a little bit too close for comfort between Beto and Ted Cruz. A little bit too close for comfort and a little too close. Now, Texas is a big state and it's pretty red, but Austin is getting kind of weird. Well, Austin been weird. It's like a California enclave, and then Dallas and Houston and whatnot. They're starting to get kind of San Antonio, same thing. El Paso, same thing. Okay, that's starting to happen. So Arizona, same thing. I think Arizona had some irregularities going on, but also the California virus. Okay, and I've said that a lot. People that are from California, they don't like what's happening with the state. They don't like the fact that things are becoming more expensive, and the crime is crazy, and it's a big gap between the rich and the poor. For you to live in the ghetto in LA, like, I don't know, South Central somewhere, if you live in the hood where you got a dope bullets every night, where you got bars on your window, to get a house there that's like 1,500 square feet, you might be paying $500,000 easy. $500,000, like $500,000, $600,000 for a house like that. So there's a big gap between the rich. You can't really own anything out there that's of value besides a car, maybe. You can't own any land or property. It's a big gap. So they moved from California, like Los Angeles, San Francisco, to Texas, to Florida, to Arizona, Colorado, Nevada. and then they vote the exact same way they did in California in the new place where they live. I think they said like there's 81,000 people that come to Georgia every year or something like that. Like the actual net gaining population, 81,000 people. It's probably more than that. That might be every month. You go down 85, you're going to see a U-Haul. You're going to see quite a few U-Hauls up there going into the perimeter, not outside the perimeter. Or maybe they go outside the perimeter to move out there, but they're not really leaving the state. They're not leaving the area. They're moving to the area from somewhere else. That's what's going on. Okay. So, but thank y'all again for joining. We got a whole lot happening. Hold on. Somebody says 70% of Texas lives in 6 urban areas: Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, El Paso, McAllen, Harlingen, Brownsville. Most of these areas are Democrat. It's not just Austin. Yeah, you're right about that. But Austin is where the Californians, it's like their most desired location. You see, but I know that it's more than just, I've been to Dallas, Houston, El Paso. I've been there, and I kind of see, I'm seeing the hipster areas. I'm seeing kind of how it is. Out of everywhere, I like El Paso probably the most. It's pretty chill. It's kind of a smaller place. It's cool to me. But, that's what's happening. Demographic shift. They want to give Big Mama the credit, Stacey Abrams, talking about, she turned the black vote out and all this and that. Here's some numbers for you right quick before I get to Big Mama Stacey Abrams. 70% of those that make under $30,000 a year do not vote at all. And Atlanta is a lot of that going on. A lot of people that don't have any money and some that do. Okay, so it's not really the black vote that did it. It's people that moved from other parts of the country, from all races, white and everybody else, that voted a little bit more for the Democrats. And then you put on some quote unquote voting irregularities on top of that, then now you got 2 Democrats in the Senate versus 2 Republicans in the Senate. All right, that's a fact. Things have changed since 2015 when David Perdue got elected the first time. Things have changed. And the race was kind of, it was kind of competitive back then. And it's worse now because they want to blame Trump, but really it's what the mainstream media is doing because of Trump. They're trying to get Trump out of there. So you got California, New York, everywhere else pouring money into the state to try and, fight off the Republicans in general. But is that Trump's fault or is it the mainstream media's fault? Is it the establishment's fault that wants to have control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency? Whose fault is it? But I digress. All right, hold on. I'm going to respond to a comment right quick just to make sure that. Okay, somebody says, talk. That time has passed. What you going to do? You going to do what they did on the Capitol today for no reason? So they can just be disrupted for a little while. We can get embarrassed. Somebody can lose their life. And then they go right back to working like the same way they were. It's like, okay, I can do that for a while. We're going to evacuate, come back a few hours later, and get right back to it. What did that accomplish? So all we can do is go about things the legal way. If you do things the illegal way, you're not going, what did it solve? It didn't solve anything. We have a system of laws. We got law and order, right? So you got to go about things that way, in my humble opinion. The whole storming the Capitol didn't work, period. But we're going to talk about all of that. Oh, Stacey Abrams. I almost forgot about Stacey Abrams. The liberals, the white liberals, the black liberals of all colors are trying to give Big Mama the credit, Stacey Abrams. They're trying to give her the credit, talking about, she's the reason why Georgia has gone blue, all this and that. How can you give Stacey Abrams the credit for doing that when she couldn't even win her election just 2 years ago? When she lost the gubernatorial race against Brian Kemp, how is she going to be the deciding factor in 2 different elections that are not her when she couldn't even win her own race? She ran a bad election talking about a bad race, a bad campaign, talking about gun control. In Georgia, gun control, how you run a race on that? Not even the black folks in Georgia are really in favor of gun control. The Real Housewives of Atlanta got guns. I saw a clip online somewhere where one of the housewives had somebody come into her front driveway that shouldn't have been there. And she came outside with the gun, with a shotgun or something, ready to get it rocking and rolling. Like, nah. So she ran a bad campaign and lost. So how could she be the deciding factor in 2 different elections for the Senate? It doesn't make any sense at all. All right. So here's the actual thing I was talking about. Now, Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, posted this. And what it says is good morning. And it appears to be a picture of her house with a tree still up. Take a tree down right now, past New Year's. But anyway, it's her house. It's a table and it's a chair. And on the table, there's this tall candle. It's like one of the candles you see, if you ever seen one of these little shrines they have with the Mexicans, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say it wrong and be, inconsiderate, but you know what I'm talking about. Those tall candles. It has Stacey Abrams on it in like some kind of religious, idealized type way. She's holding a book that appears to be like a Bible or something, and there's a glow behind her head. This is a crazy thing. Some said it's satanic. I have no idea what this is, but whatever it is, it's ridiculous. And my question is, why does Gretchen Whitmer have this? Like, why is that in her house? Who makes these? Like, who's the guy that said, you know what, I'm going to make that? Probably a white male liberal, but I digress. Okay, here's another one. Matter of fact, here's another one. Like, what are we even doing? Is this what y'all do? Is this what y'all do in y'all house, the liberals? Y'all got that going on in your crib? Look, Saint Stacey, really? And then it's like a similar one, but it's not quite as detailed. But up underneath it, there's a plaque, and it says, "Blessed Sister of Truth to Power." That's what it says. And it's a Buddha statue right next to that, but that's a different story. I'm gonna talk about Buddhism and that whole cult. But anyway, so yeah, that's what they got going on. They want to give her the credit and throw her a bone, and this whole worship of the black woman. But in reality, you talking about some guys pushing buttons behind the scenes. You're talking about money that comes from other parts of the country, other parts of the world that came into the race. You're talking about demographic shifts. Not because of Stacey M1 Abrams' tank. All right. We got super chats on deck. I'm going to read those right quick, and then we're going to get to the calls. And before I get to the calls, before I read the super chats, this video you're hearing right now will be available as audio only on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Apple iTunes, G-Word. I don't want to say the G-Word. I don't want to trigger your device. G-Word Play, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you listen to your podcast, this show will be on. Just search for ABL Live. I should pop right on up. There's also a link to it in the description box below. Also, if you want one of these flags that are behind me, one of these beautiful flags, there's a link to that in the box below as well. Get one for yourself. Get one for a friend. Get one for your wife, your husband, or whatever, and enjoy it. All right. Super chats on deck, and then I'm going to get to the calls in just a little bit. So y'all hang tight. All right, shout out to, let me see. Hold on. Wolfgang says, pardon the first one. Look at what we did. We had a ransack, and yet the whole million MAGA stayed outside. True patriots, all of them. There you go. Thank you for that. Thank you to Brian Hack, who says, hey, ABL, I've been trying to prevent this for years. Can y'all hear me now? Prevent what? A minor disruption that did nothing. Thank you to R. Pitaku says, much respect to you, ABL. Keep up the great work, and I enjoy your honesty and integrity. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. That's one thing I'm going to say right quick. Sometimes it can be hard to be honest, but for me, it's hard to be a liar. I got to just speak straight from the heart. That's how I operate. I can't sit here and tell you a lie. That's just not something, that's not how I was raised to be. Dad always told me that. He was like, if you don't know a thing, say you don't know it. If you do, say you do. Just be honest. That's the honest is the best policy. Always be honest, and I always stuck with that. I can't do nothing else but that. Shout out to the Alpha and Omega, who says, Trump posted a video asking everyone to go home in peace, respect the police, and Twitter removed it, saying he was inciting violence. Enough. Fight. Fight in what way? But that was crazy how they removed it. But what are you really going to do? Aside from the legal thing and also, how you handle business. Things ain't going right over here. You build something for yourself and you try to get that going the way you're supposed to go. Like I said, I don't think we need to be leaving the Twitters, because then you leave the biggest place and your voice becomes less. But what we got to do is really build up our platforms to where they're competitive with the other one, and to where we can have not just our side on it, but all sides on it. That's the only way you can really fight against this, is to, competition. That's the best way. Competition and also just voting the right way, doing things legally. That's it. And if you feel like people that you vote for aren't doing the right thing, they're not going about it the right way, then maybe you can run. Maybe somebody else can run. Maybe I might have to run. Get a team behind you, get some money, and put yourself in there and start to change things. That's what Chunk Yogurt did with AOC. That's a fact. Now, of course, I don't agree with AOC at all or Chunk Yogurt from the Young Turks, but that's what they did. They got a bunch of money up. They put it together, and they have they got the squad. They got Corey Bush, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Presley, Rashida Tlaib, the list goes on. Jamal Bowman, they got a whole team that they put on with their own money. We got to do the same thing on our side. Guys got money over here. I know plenty of guys that got plenty of money. We got to do that over here on our side. Rather than just saying things ain't going right, we got to be changed that we want to see and go about it the legal way. Period. All this, trying to go into the Capitol, what's that going to do? Nothing. Oh, okay, you guys want to do that? Okay, here comes the police. Get out and go to the penitentiary. And it'd be the same old dog and pony show unless you really get involved in a serious way with politics in the serious way, not just, kind of like lip service. You understand? So, but I'll move right along. Thank you to DC who says, my good friend, thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you to Carolyn Janae. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name up. Who says, I was at the Steel rally in my state, Capitol today, and I didn't know the extent of what happened in D.C. Certainly local media descended on our completely nice rally of 250 pressing for a story. Thank you for this, E. And thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Doug Ripley who says, ABL, can you make a ma'am mug? Matter of fact, I just got my mug right here. And my wife just came in just now. I got just that in the third mug, just right on cue. When I read that one, I got another one that you want. Okay, you want a ma'am mug? It's awkward when I put a sir mug up when she comes at me and she only gets angrier. Okay, I got you, boss. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. Let me see. Eric, thank you for your donation. Thank you to Carolyn who says, I feel that someone will leave before January 20th. Probably Pence, but possibly President Trump. It's a rift too deep to repair. I mean, at this point, it doesn't even matter because we're almost there. This is the 6th of January. The 20th is in 2 weeks to the day. It's in 14 days. Might as well stay now. They could just, lay low and have that be it. Okay. Let me see. Talex 001 says, this isn't just about Trump. We will not let our kids and grandkids be CRT. I'm not sure what that means. It is a line we will not allow. This is fair. This is far, far from over. I got you, boss. All right. Thank you to my man, Jericho Green. Thank you for your donation, boss. He says, what in the absolute H are they trying to do to our beautiful country? Don't stop, ABL. Hey, I ain't going to stop, man. Never that. Thank you for your donation and your support, man. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Wolfgang who says, I disagree. It is better to be on platforms which do not censor. We do not have an echo chamber because we debate, so let them come to us when ready. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the thing is, if the right are saying, hey, let's go to Parler, and everybody on the right goes to Parler, where's the other side to break up the echo chamber? You see? I like when you have more organic things that kind of come about, like this whole Clubhouse thing. Have you guys heard about that? That's super organic. That's coming about. I'll be on that as soon as I get an invite. Wink, wink. Somebody in the chat. Wink, wink. But when I get an invite to Clubhouse, I'm in there. Okay? Because it's an organic thing that's growing. That's how social media has always been. It's always been organic. When Twitter started, it was like, oh, what's that? That's kind of hot over there. I'm going to get on that. And then people were on it and just kind of caught wildfire. Same thing with Instagram. Same thing with Facebook. Same thing with MySpace. That's how it always was. The only non-organic platform was AOL back in the day because you would get one of them free CDs in the grocery store and that was your ISP. That's how you got on the internet. It's with the all the phone noises. Remember that back in the day? If you kind of old enough, remember that whole kerfuffle back then with clogging the phone up, trying to be online in the chat rooms. That was the only non-organic thing. Everything else has been organic. So I think that'd be how this whole thing presses forward, in my humble opinion. All right. Seek the Light says, ABL, this is it. Biden will give the U.S. to the globalists of the Great Reset. There will be no 2028. Man, don't despair, because remember, we had 8 years of Obama, and you put in the same guys in there that were in there in between '02 and what was that? When did Obama in there? Oh, '07, '08, '09, and 2017. It was the same guys that were in there back then that they're going to try to come bring in now. All right. Thank you to John, who says, witness to woman shot in Capitol interview WUSA. YouTube title, kid has her blood on him. Tim C says, Pelosi denied the Bush election. There you go. Not a banned account says, is Vice President Pence supporting Joe Biden? No. I think that Pence can only do what he is allowed to do legally. But I don't think he's supporting Joe Biden. He's restricted legally. That's all. I'd want him to do more than what he's doing, but he can't. Leo Mazzina says, if there is fraud and Biden loses the electoral votes and goes under 270, we may not have Trump or Biden presidency. Yeah, that'd be crazy to see how that happens. That'd be really, that's why I was like, ain't no point in doing this whole thing with the Capitol, because let's let this whole process play out. You could have some revelations come about a year from now. These court processes and legal action, it takes a long time. You may have new evidence that comes out. You just got to be patient. People don't have patience. I'm a very patient person, so I'll wait. I'm the kind of guy that'll wait for years and get my result and be good with it. But not everybody's so patient, but that's just me. Let me see. Bearbait says, after today, I'm registering as an independent. Also, New York State Senate Assembly Bill A416, look into it. It's a red flag law for COVID, not good. Thank you to Valerie C, who says, I was in D.C. today. I yelled at the police to keep their oaths and pick a side, and young patriots were climbing trees just to try to see the president. It made me cry. Fat Whataburger guy says, what's your opinion on Texas seceding? I doubt it. They could do that, but I doubt it. I doubt any state would secede. If a state secedes, it'd probably be California, or parts of California would break apart. That'll happen first before Texas. And Cali might break apart literally because of that San Andreas fault, but I digress. Jeff Cox says, over the next 4 years, America will sell to China piece by piece. Well, that's kind of already been going on. It's a lot of things that are Chinese owned you wouldn't even believe in America. But hopefully that does not happen. Justice Smith says, do you agree with some Republicans on and the left saying people at the Capitol Hill aren't being treated differently, which in their eyes proves white bias? I'm kind of having a hard time understanding what you mean. I think what you're saying is that they are being treated differently. Like, let's say if it was BLM versus the guys at the Capitol. I'm having a hard time understanding what you're saying. But the Capitol, nobody was armed, number one. And it wasn't like this thing where people are really rioting. It was bad, but it wasn't like what's happening or what was happening in Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington. It wasn't like that. So it just matters what the situation is. And as far as it being a white thing, like I was saying earlier, most of the BLM so-called protests and Antifa so-called protests are white. The makeup racially of the Capitol thing was not much different than a BLM rally or an Antifa rally. It just so happens that BLM say Black Lives Matter, so people think that it's a black thing. When you go to the ground, it's mostly white people out there. So let me see. Shout out to Cindy, who says, hashtag vlogs for CC. We will be crying for the next 4 years. Like you guys did, you mean? Oh, I guess somebody is responding to somebody else asking, are we going to cry for 4 years? And anybody crying. We're not going to do that. Shout out to Roadhouse, who says, at this point, who cares what the media says? I loved it. I didn't, but I can, that's your opinion. Thank you to Teresa for your donation. Thank you to Justice Smith, who says, Chaz was approved, though. Approved by who? Well, I won't say Chaz was approved, but Chaz wasn't a thing that was stopped. The police didn't want it because they eventually broke it up. The police chief didn't want it. They broke it up eventually. So I think it was a thing that was kind of left alone. And police told to stand down to not really, engage. But it wasn't approved like they went down to the city and said, hey, can I get a permit to set up an autonomous zone? It wasn't that going on. People were terrorized because it wasn't just an empty place. People lived there. They worked there. It was bad. People that lived in the place were terrified every night, being harassed and had stuff stolen. It was a mess, man. Thank it to Steve, who says, I was at the protest today. Nobody was shot. They aren't portraying this correctly. I watched the whole thing unfold. Antifa led the BS against the cops. Nobody actually broke into the Capitol. So somebody got shot because somebody died. So how did that happen? And I do believe you about Antifa leading the BS against the cops, because Trump supporters don't fight the cops. That's what Antifa and BLM do. Thank it to Maria, who says, I don't want to feel like this, but why fight if results will be the same? Well, you just can't like give up after just one bump in the road. You understand? Because we had it sweet for the past 4 years. Everything was good. Bump in the road comes and you say, I want to give up. That can't be how it is. It's going to be an everlasting fight. See, that's why I'm not even stressing, because I have no fatigue and I have infinite patience. So I'm not even worried, because I know it's going to be a long fight. I knew from the beginning this would be a long fight and it wouldn't be over just with Trump being elected the first time. It'll be a constant fight, not just for Trump, but for local elections, regular, just everyday living, everything, man. It's going to be a constant thing. It's not going to be over just because somebody gets voted for. It's going to be a constant battle. Let me see. Neve Key 7 says, you think we're F with majority blue Senate? Oh, do you think we're screwed with majority blue Senate? No, not really. I think it's going to be a lot of infighting on a Democratic Party. Watch out for that. The AOCs versus the Nancy Pelosi's and Chuck Schumer's of the world. That's going to be a fight right there. You know, she voted for Nancy Pelosi, of course, but when she get down to the floor, there's going to be some fighting going on. The AOC side is going to want to be more, quote unquote, progressive, and Pelosi going to be more, she'll be more moderate, believe it or not. And you also have the fact that you have states that still have autonomy, which is a good thing. Valerie Rogers says the war is here. Hold on. She says the war is here and the Democrats did not win. Thank you to Anna for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to Shad Boy for the pound emoji. Thank you to Talix 001 who says, candle they use when they blank kids and chant. Yikes. Thank you to Ben RP who says, BM in Georgia getting ready to purchase an AR pistol for the times we live in. Hey man, go ahead and get ready to rock and roll. I got mine already. I'm already prepared, so I'm good to go. You know, get that ammo too, because I might be kind of scarce coming up. Thank you to, what was that, Kawan Archer, who says, who authorized those candles? That's my question. That's my question. Thank you to Jason, who says, do you think Antifa has anything to do with what happened at the Capitol? Oh yeah, because I was in DC in, what was that, like October or November of 2020, just, 2 months ago, really. I was there and I saw things boarded up. I was seeing Antifa out there. There was this one guy, he like an Antifa. If you ever played one of these video games like Dark Souls or something like that, he got this boss, like this little mid boss. He's sitting out there. He was dressed like that, had on some like kind of tattered rags, but was like real big, older white dude with a big beard, straight video game NPC, right? We were out there for the march and he was kind of posted up close where we were, like in the parking lot. And he had this stick and he was banging it on some metal over and over in like a rhythmic fashion, not just like crazy man, but banging it. And my friend was there. I don't want to say his name, but he was like, that guy's probably Antifa and he's probably doing the signal. And that was back in like October or November. So they've not left. They've still been there ever since all the riots and whatnot that were happening with the Black House Autonomous Zone. Remember that? They've still been there. So if they've been there throughout this entire time and things were still boarded up since that time, they didn't just happen to leave right now on this big event. They wouldn't be there for that, for sure. All right. Shout out to Raw Campbell, who said, thank you, ABL, for your continued sacrifice and bringing us the truth. God bless you. God bless you as well. Mallard the Duck says, God bless you, ABL. God is still on his throne. You are a cool cat. I appreciate it. Thank you to Dev, who says, look, don't attack folks with the tree still up. We can't all be coordinated, amazing like ABL. I appreciate it. Thank you to Theo Francis 3.0, who says, the entire thing in D.C. was a Democrat operation. Antifa broke through a fake barrier set up by D.C. cops controlled by the Democrats. False flag. I agree. It makes sense to me. Hudson Jackson says, Clan Antifa's new theme song might as well be The Freaks Come Out at Night. do you see a 25th Amendment or another impeachment attempt on Trump? They'll try it. Right when the whole thing started to happen, they said 25th, 25th. They do that all the time. Now, if it's going to stick or not, I'm not really sure because it's not much time left. If they feel like Biden's going to be the president, he's inaugurated on the 21st. So you got 14 days. It's not enough time to do anything like that. Unless they think that he's not going to be the president, speaking about Joe Biden, that is, then they may try to do the whole 25th thing. But nah, they're not going to do it because they don't got enough time. All right. Thank you to Maddie Smith, who says, George Soros is having the time of his life right now. Man is the definition of evil. Nada Boy says, Kelly Loeffler just withdrew her objection. They said allegedly due to the violence. Ah, please. If she withdrew it, then it wasn't real to begin with. If you object to it, then you object to it based upon what happened. What happened and the details of what went on don't change because of a different event happens later. You know, if I say there was cheating going on, then that's what I'm always say. I'm not going to change my viewpoint because something else happens later. Nah, it made no sense. If it was a rainstorm that happened, if a tornado happened, that fact won't change because of a different fact that happens later. Shout out to Brandon, who says, Right Side Broadcasting mentioned that people that stormed the Capitol building were most likely Trump supporter impersonators. Correct. C. Bill says Biden will not make the presidency. Hillary will replace him. It'll be Hillary and Harris. Hillary us. No pun intended. Charles Turner Jr. says, like you, ABL, I do not condone violence at all. However, being dignified and turning the other cheek is no longer an option. Must keep pushing back against the mob. Pushing back how, though? That's the question. Thank you to Helen Kelly for the donation. Thank you to Seek the Light, who says, these are the same guys, but not the same principles. Candy Girl says, they're all turning on Trump as we speak. Doug Ripley says, ABL, Glenn Jacobs, 2024. Yeah, shout out to my man, Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. Kane from WWFE. I met him in Politicon 2019. Really, really cool, down-to-earth guy. I like him a lot. Thank you to Cindy Gonzalez, who says, NBC said that Trumpers they talked to were saying that the shooting was worth it with no proof or footage. Of course they're going to say that. And thank you to Dev, who says, Dark Souls, ABL, Dark Souls. No, you didn't do him like that. Hey, if you saw this guy, this dude was, kind of pale skin, like he was wet for no reason. It wasn't raining that day at all. His hair, it was like straight video game NPC, banging his stick down on some metal to sitting on the other Antifa people. All right. We got calls to get to. This is a call-in show. The number to call is right there in the bottom, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. There's also a Skype number to use. You can be right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen talking about whatever. All right. The only rules are, please, no cursing because I don't want to get blocked by the YouTubes right now. I want to have a good stream. All right. And, of course, we're a family-friendly show. I don't even curse, so y'all give me that same, consideration, and we'll be good to go. All right, again, the number to call, 434-658-1220. Let me go ahead and get Skype up and running. If it wants to work well, that'd be fantastic. All righty. So let's get into it. Give me 1 second here. Let me get my settings together, and then we'll be good to go. And so let me see. Let's get the speakers. Okay, I got speakers on deck right here. There we go. Perfect. All righty, 773, you're online. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Bill.
What's happening?
This is Andrew, aka the rapper.
All righty, man. What's going on?
First time calling. Happy New Year, by the way.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Anyway, I've been watching the Epic Times for quite a while now, and I did not see the whole shooting or Antifa because it's pretty hard to identify. But I'll tell you this, though. Don't know if you believe in QAnon, but a lot of it has been proven to be entirely accurate because for seeing all this corruption and pretty much seeing a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that Biden and the establishment. I'd like to know if you think that we patriots need to kind of do some more action.
Well, I don't know about QAnon really, so I can't really comment on that. But I think that the action needs to happen is the legal. I've been saying it for a long time. It's just going about things in the correct way. We can't. Okay, I got to back up a little bit. We can't just sit back and let people get into office and we vote for them blindly because they got an R by their name. We have to be more active in the process. Like I was saying about Chunk Yogurt from Young Turks. This guy, love him or hate him, I'm not a fan of Chunk Yogurts, but what he did with putting AOC in there and Ilhan Omar and all these people, Jamal Bowman, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, he got together with some guys that had some money, built a coalition and said, okay, we're going to change the face of Congress. We're going to put our people in to get it to be more far left. And they did that. That's what they're doing right now. We got to do that on our side. To engage in anything else that's beyond the law is not going to actually get us anywhere, in my humble opinion. We got to do things in the correct way and in the serious way and not really in the passive direction.
Yes, and another thing is that a lot of people don't realize how much these lockdowns are violating their own constitutional rights, and that's pretty much the big thing right there that nobody, not even normally who watch the mainstream media, fully understands what their rights are. Because decades ago, we did have civics class that actually taught us what our rights are, but nowadays, the schools barely even teach that anymore. So students there who are actually protesting out there have no clue what rights are legal and what rights are not.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. I understand that. Like, education is very important. And again, we got to take an active role in doing that because when you go to K through 12 public school, they're not going to teach you a lot. They'll teach you some of the basic things. They'll indoctrinate you. It's up to the parents. We know what's going on. If people got kids, they got to tell their kids what's right and what's wrong. If the schools won't do it, we got to do it. We have to take more of an active role in our lives. I think that's what the message should be. Be more active in your life. Be the change you want to see. And don't be relying upon the government. Even if you vote for them, you can just sit back and chill. Nah, you got to be active more than anything else because the government should only do the bare minimum, the basic things. They should be kind of in the background where we exist in the foreground, taking the control of our own lives.
Okay, because here in Chicago, my parents don't really understand that, and that's why I've not talked to them about these current events because I know they get their information from the mainstream media, and pretty much don't understand the critical questions that need to be asked, and not just vote for this candidate because they're black or white. Actually, kind of be pretty much your own critical thinker and think for yourself. And I really think that a lot of students need to kind of realize that.
Right, absolutely, man. Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, just remember the Bears won the Packers drill, man.
All right, now, thank you for the call.
Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. The number call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. All right. Hey, and talking about a Dark Souls boss. Okay, here's what I'm talking about right here. The guy that was in DC looked just like this right here. Hold on. He looked just like that. I'm not even exaggerating. If I can get him on the screen. He looked just like that. He was dressed similar. And this little sword right here was his stick he had on the ground. That's how he looked. Straight up. That's Antifa style right there in real life. It was crazy. And he was big. I'm big. I'm 6'3". This dude had to have been about 6'6". He looked like a straight monster. But anyway, the number to call 434-658-1220. 405, you're online. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, this is Raylan.
All right, what's going on?
Hi, I was just calling to say that I was watching earlier on the Global News Network that there was this young man. He looked kind of like he was an Antifa guy. I'm not really sure. But he had blood on his hand. He said he saw the lady that got shot. And then the main thing that stuck out to me was that he said this government isn't working for anybody. It needs to fall. So I was thinking that's kind of like an Antifa thing to say, you know, not really a Trump supporter thing to say.
Of course. And, you know, it makes sense for that to be the case because they definitely were out there because they've been out there in D.C. for some months. And they wouldn't leave. They wouldn't just vanish right now at this particular time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that's all I really wanted to say, and thank you for answering my call. I wasn't really expecting you to answer. That was pretty cool.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Well, I really appreciate you. You're doing a wonderful job, ABL.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. 786 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, Anthony Brian Logan. How you doing? It's me, Kendrick Silver.
All right, man. What's going on?
Hey, man. Today was just crazy, man. I didn't expect things to go down the way they did back in D.C.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I call it. I remember when I last talked to you, I talked about finding alternative ways, but I didn't think of this. And obviously, I do not support it, nor do I condemn it, because at the end of the day, I don't know if it was actually Trump supporters or Antifa. Like I said, I wasn't there, but yeah, man, it's been crazy so far. But what I call it? I forgot what I was gonna say. That yeah, on the issue of that, they're still doing the votes. And do you believe like anything else is gonna be changed differently now? Like this event has been spurred. Do you think that the Republicans who once backed us up are going to change their mind, or are they still going to fight for us? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, they're going to do the same thing they were doing from the beginning. Nobody's going to change their mind at all. If they felt like they want to object, then they're going to object. Well, I think who was that? Kelly Loeffler said she's not going to object now. So, if anything is going to change it in the opposite direction, it won't help.
Yeah, you're right.
So like I was saying that from the beginning, it wasn't no point in doing that. Like it wasn't productive. You didn't get anybody else on your side. You didn't change anything. It was senseless.
I mean, I don't even think it's planned. I just think that, to be honest, I think it was just, like you said, chance of Trump supporters attacking peace. Obviously not, even though, they don't agree with them. Chances are they won't attack, but I think it was planned.
Probably so.
So it could have been, yeah. But anyway, man, I forgot what I was going to ask you, man. I'd be expected to answer this call already. But yeah, that's going to be my only question, man. Happy New Year as well.
Thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you for the call as well. Definitely appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, man. Stay safe. Peace.
All righty. Let's go to the next one. I'm on for you on the line. I'm speaking to.
Hey, this is Justin.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Hey, yeah, I just have some things to say about the events today. Just some brief stuff I think that are important for people to understand or at least consider, whether or not they actually understand it. I think it's something that people should work to understand. So one thing about the event today was the violence. There was a lot of talk about violence and, things are so violent. But in reality, only one person died today, and that person was shot by Capitol Security. So yeah. I think that's something to consider. And I think it's also important to consider that person was unarmed. They didn't have any weapons on them, as far as we know. And they were female. So when you think about a police officer with a gun shooting an unarmed female, it's a rather extreme event, regardless of the circumstance, just that fact alone. Another thing I want to briefly mention is this idea of tech censorship and how we're so split right now as a country between the left and the right perspectives on reality. And it's something that I've been studying and observing for a long time. And I've been looking for some kind of positive outlook or possibility to where this is heading. But from what I see, we have such severe echo chambers right now about information. And one specific example I can give is that just about 4 or 5 hours ago, famous celebrity Chris Evans, the guy who plays Captain America, he posted a tweet. And the tweet said something like, imagine the carnage today if the people in Washington were not white. So essentially what he's doing is he's implying that if they were black, Hispanic, or non-white, that there would have been more violence, more blood, more death, cops would have been shooting them, et cetera. That's what he's insinuating. But the reality is that just today you had posted that there was, in the 1960s of all eras, where people think about the separation of between the races and civil rights issues in this country, there was black protesters stormed the Capitol armed with weapons, with actual rifles, in the 60s. And they went there and their grievances were heard, and nobody was killed, nobody was shot, nobody was dead. Yet there's leftists today pushing this narrative that somehow in the year 2020, that black people showing up to the Capitol would have resulted in them being attacked or maimed or something worse. And it's so far from what's actually true. It's like this separate reality where they just completely disregard history, they disregard our past, they ignore the things that actually have occurred, and they're creating this new narrative that's based on this idea that America is rooted in racism, rooted in slavery, and that's all we are, all we've ever been, and that somehow it's just as bad today as it was 100 years ago. Yet it's not true. These people don't know anything about the basic facts of what has happened, what continues to happen today. They completely ignore so much that's occurring. If it doesn't fulfill their narrative, if it doesn't promote leftist orthodoxy, it's essentially erased. And now you have Twitter censoring the president of the United States, just disabling him from being able to communicate with the people. I mean, this is so egregious. It's so terrible. It's such a shocking thing that I don't really see how we get out of this as a country. I'm not saying we're going to lead to a civil war. I don't know where it's going to head, but I just don't see these two realities coming back together when everybody's very comfortable in their own separate realities, hearing what they want to hear. And there's very little effort to try to reunite these sides. There's no honest effort. And that's really it. I think that just to sort of leave you with that, it's that this tech censorship is a direct threat to the First Amendment, and the leftists will claim that this is a private company, so private companies can do whatever they want. But here are the facts. You have high-level DNC members who now work for Twitter, who now work for Facebook, and they're on their boards controlling the censorship. So what's the difference if we have private companies censoring us, or if we have private companies that are literally employing former high-level government executives who are doing the censorship? The last thing I'll say is that tech advancement in technology and these applications and the internet that we use, it has outpaced our government's ability to protect our rights, and we're losing our rights. And before you know it, if we don't have the First Amendment, if we don't have the ability to speak and be free and express our ideas and be heard, then none of the other amendments matter. The Second Amendment doesn't. Nothing matters, because if you don't have the First Amendment, then you can't think for yourself. And if you can't think for yourself, the people who are thinking for you are the people who control the censorship. And that's really all I have to say.
Well, thank you for your call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
All right, great call. Great call. Now, here's the thing about that. All right, now, about the thing that he was talking about as far as, as far as the Black Panthers storming the Capitol in California, in Sacramento, back in the 60s during the Civil Rights Movement. Now, they had their guns on them, and I put it on the screen before you. If you can't see it, you got one Panther member with a long rifle. He's holding it up in the air. He's not, there's no trigger on no finger on the trigger or nothing like that. It's all safe. He's good. So they went there with their guns, and I'm not sure if they had their guns inside the Capitol or if they put them down outside and went in. But regardless of what, they went up to the Capitol with their guns. They're right there at the door. Nobody shot them. Nobody hurt them. Nobody harmed them. They were allowed to go in there and air their grievances, and everything was all peaceful. Everything was all peaceful. So, this whole thing, if they black, they would have got shot, please. Why would they get shot? They weren't even armed in D.C. They said that they did get some guns from people that were arrested in D.C., but there was only 13 arrests out of, I don't know how many they got into the Capitol. But mostly nobody had guns on them because you can't have guns in D.C. So you had a bunch of unarmed people that went to the Capitol. I'm not saying that was right, but to say that they would have got shot if they were black, why would they get shot? They didn't get shot back in the 60s during civil rights, so why would they get shot now? And it's a bunch of ignorance going on. Somebody literally said, hey, that was from the 1960s. They definitely would get shot now. So how could somebody say that they did not get shot in the 60s and they would get shot right now? So are we saying that racism is worse in America towards blacks than it was back then? I mean, you could pretty much do whatever you want to do if you black. That's part of the reason why I'm not off of the internets or not off of the YouTubes as of yet, because I'm black. All right, that's a fact. I know a lot of friends or people that I kind of know a little bit that are white that ain't even really here. Being a white male is like not even in style. It's not even in vogue anymore. You got to just try to find a different identity. This is why, Alec Baldwin's wife wants to be Hilaria Baldwin. Can't be a white woman anymore. You got to be Latina. You know, Dolezal, Sean King. They want to be black and they get face tanning and weird haircuts and goatees. They're trying to be different than what they are because there's no benefits in being white male or white female anymore. But I digress. Let's get back to the calls. 402, you're on the line. I'm speaker to.
Mr. Logan, how are you doing? This is Mary from Minneapolis. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. About yourself?
I'm doing good, sir. I just wanted to throw a couple of things out there. I know that you pretty much keep up with the fact checking with everything like that, but I didn't know how much you kept up with today with the Senate when Pence was in there with Pelosi in the beginning.
I didn't see that part.
Well, if you go back and look at the video, and everybody should, after Pence left, there was I don't know what his name was. He was just a big man. And he was trying to secretly pass something to Pelosi. And you can see it in the video. And she tried to pretend like she was raising the podium. And you can see the white sheet of paper. Here's the thing. If you don't have anything to hide, why not just hand it right over at the top? Am I right?
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
You see this. Yeah. And he finally sat there and she grabbed it from him, sending all this stuff with there. I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. Then I'm sitting there watching the other videos, including the shooting. And I'm not saying what they did was right. I'm from Maryland. I used to go to D.C. every summer, like the rest of us did. We'd go out to D.C., hit all the different places out there. And if you were old enough to drink, you went out to the bars. But the thing is you sit there and you go in and you see where Secret Service is, and all you see is glass on the outside. That glass that's there is white. So people that were coming in the building would have never known what was behind there. That was actually knocked outward, not inward. And that young lady was shot. I don't know who the gentleman was carrying that looked like an AR gun. But the bottom line is, it's like you sit there and you take a look at it, and I'm going, okay, so what initiated this? And when they were sending everybody downstairs on another of the channels, I think it was NTD, they were sitting there, and one of the reporters was downstairs in the basement. And you can see BLM and Antifa coming right in with their backpacks. You can fact check that. You can take a look at the videos that are on it, if they're still even there. And if you look at the one picture where one of the ladies is actually holding somebody down, I don't remember her being part of the Senate whatsoever. It was just a very odd situation today, what was going on and how it was being handled. And, I sit there and I look at what we as Americans are going through right now. And I commend anybody who stands up for what's wrong. You and I have actually had the conversation, if you remember. I'm the one that called in about the people who become Muslim from the prisons.
Yeah.
I was a minister there for 4 years.
Okay.
So you know how I feel about this stuff. Here's the thing. We're Americans. If we don't start standing up for the truth, because God even says the truth is what sets us free. If we don't start standing up for the truth and what's right, and I'm not talking about doing a 1776 here, I believe that people that are causing the problems that we have in this country should be brought to light. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. I could go through A through Z in the alphabet, and I'd probably hit every single name in there. But the thing is I worry about Pence. I think they got to Pence, whether it be threatening him, his family. It doesn't make sense with him.
But I don't know what I don't know what he can do though. 'Cause I hear that a lot, but I don't know what he can do legally to help Trump right now.
Well, right now, one, they're trying to find every way they can to impeach him. But here's the thing. I can't remember her name. She's a congresswoman, mean as evil as ever, and tried to get a riot against Trump supporters. Pelosi did the same thing. And yet that's not inciting a riot.
Right. Yeah.
To attack Trump supporters. Trump wasn't inciting a riot today.
Right. Exactly. It wasn't.
This right here needs to come to a head. And we need to know the truth. And we need to know the truth about our elections. We need to stop having things hidden. And second of all, that's our building. Your taxes, my taxes, everybody else who's ever worked since they were a kid paid for those buildings. And we pay for their paychecks. They're our employees. And not for nothing. Don't matter what nationality you are. We were all slaves to China at one point. Because I don't remember going and getting a paycheck from them every time we shipped something to them that we made, that we produced. We've been slaves to all these other countries, and Trump finally put our country first.
Mm-hmm.
Our country. It didn't matter what nationality you were. Everybody could succeed for once. In all the years I've been on this earth, I've been here for a long time. I've seen a lot of stuff. And you and I are basically on the borderlines of being brother and sister, because from your state to my state wasn't a spit and a run. But I don't think what's being done right now is right. I think they're trying everything they can to go against Trump. And out of curiosity, do you know the one question I can't answer? Are they going to go after him after he comes out of office?
They might try to, but they're not going to get anywhere with that. That's going to be just futile because they don't have anything. They don't have any kind of real charge to get him on. So that'll just be exercise of futility.
Yeah, and I know that we did not attack anybody. I watched that video from 7 different video views today on the internet. We didn't attack anybody.
Yeah.
You had a lot of Antifa boys go in there. You had a lot of young kids who just don't know better.
Right. I'm with you. Well, I thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. You have a blessed day.
All right, same to you. Yeah, I want somebody to tell me, like, if anybody thinks that, Pence is incorrect, he's wrong, he's a traitor or whatever the case, I want you to tell me why. Like, what can Pence do legally to help Trump in the situation that he's in right now? If he could do something legally, then I'd like to hear it. If he can't, then what are we saying? That's just my question. All right. 561, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, sir. This is Jason McRae from North Carolina.
All righty. What's going on?
What's up, man? So, huge fan. Sorry. So, shout out to Ted Cruz today for how he verbalized his statement. But mainly, I wanted to question you. How did you feel about his, comparatively to everybody else's, statement or whatever they had to say? And then also, second question. So with everything that's going on in D.C. right now, wouldn't there's so many people that think that now it's just going to embolden more, so more people are going to go, and just what are your thoughts on where even if it's this or that, what are your thoughts on where we're going to go from here?
Well, I've not heard what Ted Cruz said, so I don't know the answer to that question. I need to go look at that. But as far as where we go from here, all we could do is just, like I was saying from the beginning, if we feel like people in power aren't doing what they should be doing, and we're not getting what we want, we're kind of dissatisfied, then we need to organize and get those in office who we do want to, who can actually help us, who can actually do things for us, who will follow the will of the people. That's all we can do. And we also got to figure out what's possible under the law, because I see a lot of people, they say they want X and they want Y and they want Z, but these things aren't necessarily lawful. So we got to get down to the core of what we can do. And if people in office aren't doing what they should be doing and what they can do, then they got to go get primaried or whatever. And like I was saying earlier, Chunk Yogurt. Say what now?
I'm sorry. If our voting doesn't matter, like from here on out, if our voting doesn't matter, then what can we do? Like, what is there left to do?
I mean, but see, I think that is the wrong attitude to have, because what you have right now is just a bump in the road. It doesn't make sense to just say it doesn't, nothing matters, it's all fraud, and just give up because of one bump in the road. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. I mean, you got to just.
No, I'm not saying give up. I'm just saying make a time to finally make a stand.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think it's right to say that the voting doesn't matter. The voting does matter. If you say that voting doesn't matter, then you're saying, all right, then it's just fraudulent. If you're saying that, that's your question. You're saying, what do we say? Like you're saying, what do we do? Hold on. You're saying, what do we do if voting doesn't matter? So at that point, you're saying that it doesn't matter. So my response is, I don't think you should just give up and say it doesn't matter because of the one bump in the road. You got to keep on going. If people in office are there that aren't doing the right thing under the law that they can do, then we got to get those in there that can do what they should be doing, or will do what they should be doing up under the law. Just like what Chunk Yogurt, aka Chunk Yogurt, did from the Young Turks. He put in AOC, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar. He did that. Him and a bunch of other guys that got a bunch of money. We could do the same thing on our side, rather than just saying things aren't going our way. We got to make our way for ourselves.
So yeah, you have to watch that Ted Cruz thing, because all the Republicans voted for a reform for voting, and every single Democrat voted nay. It's rather ridiculous.
All righty, well,
yeah, I mean that's just for reform, just so that we can get a better system next year, or you know what I mean, next 4 years.
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure to get the full context of it.
All right, man. Well, it was really good talking to you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, later.
All right. Now, somebody said Pence could have sent it back to the states, and then what? Okay, so what do they do in the states? So if you send it back to the states and then they kick it right back to him the same way that it was when he sent it to him to begin with, then what? It's not a thing that will make a difference. So what's the point in doing it if it won't make a difference? 321, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Dale. How you doing, ABL?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I got a kind of two-part question.
All
One, the DC mayor hates President Trump, correct?
Yes, Mario Bowser.
Yes. Now, doesn't it seem funny that no one, security-wise, was inside the Capitol building when they went in there? Could she have been the one to tell them to stand down and create a problem before it escalated?
It's possible. That definitely is possible, because they knew that there was going to be a rally there, because Trump had already tweeted it and already talking about it. You know, January 6th, it wasn't a secret. So if you know a rally is coming and you can prepare, then it should have been prepared. But apparently they were not truly prepared. So, I mean, I think that there was a lack of security, and that could have been on purpose. I'm not really sure why.
I think it was on purpose because of her hatred towards Trump and pretty much the American people that stand by Trump. And I still stand by him, but I see things coming down the pike as far as President-elect Biden will be president and Kamala Harris will be vice president, and they will have their chances of destroying this country with having a total run of the of the country, because no matter what they put through, if it doesn't get accepted by the Senate, it gets passed by Kamala. So either way, we lose. And I just feel sorry for our nation, and I feel sorry for the young people, and I hope that things don't get real bad and destroy it for them, because they're our future, and I don't see a very bright one right now.
Well, I wouldn't have that kind of like doom and gloom look on it, because I'll say this. One thing about the left is that they're not totally in unison. That's one kind of misconception that we should kind of clear up, because I think you got like the super far leftists like AOC and that whole squad, and then you have kind of like the moderates, and then you have the establishment, and they're kind of, having a tug of war for power. One side wants the party to go all the way far to the left. The other one wants to keep things the way they are. And then the other one wants to get more towards the right, more towards kind of a centrist point of view. So you're going to have certain things that certain sects of the party want to push forward, the others don't. So I'm not sure we're going to have just everything go through the party. And I think that at the end of the day, there's only so much that can be done on the federal level. We still have our state sovereignty. So I think things are not going to be that bad. Like I said before, we already lived through 8 years of Obama, and we're still here. So I think once we keep focusing on the local politics and getting the right people in office, if we don't have them there now, get them there in the future, I think that'll be how we push forward and get things going in a more positive direction.
Well, I hope so, because I want to see my grandsons have a future, and just what I'm seeing now, to me, it doesn't look good. And I really don't have, I don't want to have a doom and gloom, but with just what you said with the divisions of the left, that's three divisions fighting over each other. And I think it's going to hurt the country, not the division of the people, but the division of them, and them arguing back and forth and nothing getting done, and our country suffering for it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Well, ABL, I'm going to let you go, and I really thank you for taking my call, and Godspeed, God bless, and love your show, man.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you.
All righty, great call. Let's get to some more here. The number to call is 434-65. There it is, right on time. 434-658-1220. It's always in the ticker at the bottom of the screen and also in the description box below. If you want to get in through Skype, there's an email for that in the description box. You can be right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen talking about whatever's on your mind related to what's going on right now with the show. Let's get to the next one. Okay, let's go. 774, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL.
All right, man. What's happening?
Not much. How you doing?
I can't complain too much about yourself.
Hey, I want to first say thank you to people like you and Officer Tatum for giving people like me something to, have positive energy towards. It's amazing what you do, and you're great at it.
Thank you.
I did have one question, though. You was talking about what can Pence do through all this and the kickback. Well, from what I've been watching, at least today, it seems like if say he kicked back a state and enough of them to not let either Trump nor Biden reach 270, wouldn't that kick off a different kind of election, like with one where the state gets each one vote?
Hold on, say that one more time.
All right, now say if Pence were to kick back enough states to deny their electoral college votes.
But is that how it works? Like, okay, look, is that how it works though? Can he just deny it, or is it like he kick it back to the states and they got to re-examine it? He can't just say no. You see what I'm saying? Like, how does it actually work? Or do you know?
I don't. I was kind of hoping you did.
Yeah, I was asking the question. I don't really know, because people are saying he can kick it back, but I think it's to reconsider. He can't just deny the vote. That's what I was saying. No. He doesn't have that kind of power. His thing is more just ceremonial. It's not really, from what I've been reading, But I don't know all the specifics. But what I do know is that he can't just deny it like that. But even if he could deny it, let's just say he could just say, all right, we're not going to accept that and kick it back. You have to, it'd have to be like another election, I would suppose. You can't just dictate it on that level. To me, that wouldn't make any sense, because if that were the case, anybody could do that. You could just have the incumbent VP, like let's say it was a Democrat, like let's say it was Barack Obama and Joe Biden, and then here comes Trump, and he could say, Joe Biden, kick back the votes that we don't think are right, and then it just won't work. I don't think you could do that.
Even with like where we're at a contested election in the contested states, it wouldn't. Isn't that kind of like what happened with what was it, JFK and the Lyndon B. Johnson and Nixon?
I don't know about that, but I don't really know what the definition of contested would be. Contested how? Like, what? I'm not really sure about that one. That's a good question.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks for trying to answer it. I appreciate you.
No problem, man.
You have a good one, all right, ABL?
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
No, anytime. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All righty. Yeah, somebody said that I'm on Team Pence. I'm on nobody's team. I'm on Team Truth. And like I was telling you guys earlier, if I don't know something, I'm not going to sit here and make up a story. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Anybody that says that Pence should have done more, or he's a traitor or whatever, please call me and tell me why. Tell me what Pence can do that he did not do legally. Okay, the caller was trying to get me to talk about it, but y'all got to tell me, because I don't see anything that I've read that would say that Pence can just deny votes. I mean, I don't think you could do that, because you could have had Joe Biden do that in 2009 when Trump got in. I mean, was it 2017 when Trump got in office? So let's get to the next one. Alrighty, Matt, what's going on?
Hey, ABL. So, first off, I'm sorry for the loss of your dad. I know he's probably in a better place.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I got a couple questions. Like, what happens after tonight? What would have happened if this was under the Biden administration? What if there were no police in America to stop this? Any thoughts?
That's a lot right there. So what if there were no police? I mean, it wouldn't have really gone anywhere, because they were just kind of in there taking selfies and recording stuff. They probably just would have gone home eventually. That's my opinion, because they really didn't do anything. They were just kind of in there. The violence happened when the lady got shot, and it probably was by the police. And I think that probably was an accident. So it wasn't really anything going on aside from just a bunch of LARPing, people just taking selfies and streaming for Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that. They probably just would have went home when they got hungry.
Mm-hmm. Now, you had somebody earlier who said that with a video that there was a note slip between somebody and Pelosi. Now, they need to find that, because one, whatever's on that could have triggered what happened today.
Well, I don't think so, because, like, what do you mean as far as the shooting, or just the rally in general?
No, people coming into the White House, or the Capitol, my bad.
No, I don't think so. I think, it was just kind of an organic thing. Well, not really organic. I'll explain. I think that you had the rally, and then Trump was like, okay, go down to the Capitol and just have a protest there, basically. And then you had the agitators, who probably Antifa, BLM, or a little bit of the above, in my opinion. They probably agitated it to the point where people just started to go into the Capitol and then fight with the police. I don't think it had anything to do with the note that was passed inside the chambers. I don't think those that were on the outside knew what was happening on the inside of the chamber.
Mm-hmm. And, just want to say thank you for letting me come on here.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for your call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Alrighty, bye.
All right. Shout out to the young callers, always. Yeah. But, so somebody said Trump has been silenced on all social media, on all media platforms. Is that right? I saw that he got, the temporary Twitter jail, for like 12 hours, but, I didn't see anything else. Somebody says, ABL, it was an accident. Wow. You crazy now, bro. I mean, if you saw the video, that's what it looked like. Did you see the video of the shooting? I saw it, and it looked like it was an accident. That happens. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. That's what it looked like to me. But if you have the expertise and the bird's eye view, if you knew what was happening in the officer's mind, you call in and let me know. All right. All right, caller, what's going on?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, ABL, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Oh, man, there's a lot going on. Oh, Lord. Oh, man. Okay, here's what I want to say. Thank you for your patience, by the way. Here's what I want to say. I think what's going on right now, and I'm pretty sure a lot of your amazing audience agrees, what's going on right now is beyond Trump. I don't think this is about Trump right now, and a lot of American people recognize that. You know, even though a lot of us are using the image of Trump ahead of us, I think right now this is about taking America back from the hands of those who they've shown that they're not for the American people. Like they're not even like usually back then they used to hide, you know, that they're going against the American people. But right now it's become so crazy that they're not even hiding it. They're blocking people from saying certain words on the social media. You can't say the F word. I'm not talking about that F word. You can't. They're blocking conservatives all over social media, all over the internet. They can't have a voice no more. I think at this point it's beyond. What do you think right now? It's actually beyond Trump, or is it really just about Trump?
I think that this is a thing that is beyond Trump, and I think that Trump is he's being used as a scapegoat. He like whatever he says or does is the blame for everything, you know. And
right.
like the whole thing with this march, there was going to be a march regardless. It's actually good that he did say January 6th because there could be some preparation. You can get ready for it, although they probably didn't really get ready for it appropriately in D.C. as far as security.
Right.
But it's going to be a march regardless. I mean, I've been to marches where it's thousands of people, organic, with no White House cooperation. We just do it because we want to do it. So, I mean, people want to blame Trump for everything, but everything's not about Trump. Things are about what's going on with the country, what's going on with this virus and the lockdowns and everything else. There's a whole lot of things going on. The world does not revolve around Trump.
Thank you. Exactly. That's what I'm saying right now. A lot of people are like, the media is pushing Trump. Trump is so bad, and Trump did this, and Trump got this person shot, and Trump did. No, that's not what's going on. It's the people that are upset with all the foolery that not just the media, but Congress, the whole government, what they're doing. It's almost like to me, it seems demonic. Like it really seems like we're not dealing with human beings right now. Like just based on the what they call the stimulus package, what they did with the stimulus package, the money that they send out to Pakistan for gender studies, like during a time of supposedly crisis that they shut down the whole America for, and tell people that everyone's gonna die, put on tinfoil hats and you know, hide against a wall and go back and forth like you're crazy. Forcing vaccination on people. This almost seems like it's demonic. It doesn't seem like this is what people don't understand. People are not fighting because of Trump. Yes, Trump is using as an image, but this is about the soul. I wouldn't even just say just America. It's for the soul of the world, because this is not just happening in America. I travel a lot, and this whole lockdown thing is not just affecting America. It's affecting different parts of the world. People are actually starving because they can't go back to work. It's not about Trump, and it hurts me so much that the media is brainwashing people, letting them think that's about Trump. It's not about Trump, and this is why I think this is different from the time of Obama getting election, or time of Bush, or time of those president getting election. I think this is a spiritual battle, and I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people are atheists. A lot of people don't believe in God and don't believe in certain kind of things like this. But I really believe this is a fight for humanity. This is a fight for the soul. Just like how they're saying. Did you see the thing where the guy made a prayer and he said, "Amen, a woman," nonsense.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like. How they don't look like a clown in front of everybody doing that? How about what Nancy Pelosi said, that you can't use certain words like what is it? You know what I'm talking about? You can't use she or he.
Yeah.
Or
you can't use words like mother and father.
You're right.
Yeah.
You can't use mother and father. And that's why I know that she was the one that put that law in place in Pakistan for gender studies. I know she was the one that probably put that in the bill. It's insane what's going on. It's not about Trump. It's about the fight for the souls of the people. And I really believe what went on today. I know that you don't agree with violence. Okay, I got you, JBL. You're not agree with violence. I understand what you're saying. But even the Bible says that there's a time for peace and there's a time for war. We have to understand that we got America to what it is, not by saying, "Oh, guys, let's hug and kiss and everyone sing Kumbaya together." That's not how America was established. America was established because of people that fought for our freedom, went out there and fought for our freedom. And unfortunately, our battle is not out there anymore. It's within America. And I think American people need to stand up and stand strong. Thank you, ABL. Appreciate your taking my call, brother.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, bye.
Alrighty. Yeah, he said it. I'm not for the violence at all. But I'm gonna read some stuff right quick, and you tell me who said it. I'm gonna just read some passages right quick. These are not my words. I don't condone this at all. I'm gonna just read this up. You tell me who said it. All right. There needs to be unrest in the streets. That's the first one. Second one, protesters should not let up. The third one, if you see anybody from that cabinet in the restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd and you push back on them and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. The last one, I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be. So you tell me who said those 4 passages that I just read to you. All right, I'll give you one moment to think about it for a minute. Scratch your head. Just think, TikTok, Jeopardy music, RIP Alex Trebek. All right, now let's put it on the screen. Boom. The first one, you have Ayanna Pressley. The second one, Kamala Harris. The third one, about get out at the gasoline station, that's Maxine Waters. And the last one, that's good old Nancy Pelosi. So, I mean, like I said, I don't condone the violence. The question is, who does? The question is, who's talking about, this is reprehensible. Trump needs to get, Amendment 20, 25th Amendment needs to get impeached, needs to get removed. Who's saying that right now? Them. Dog and Pony Show. That's why politics, you got to get down to people that actually want to make change. These people right here, if you got people like this in office, you're going to get stuff like this going on. Hypocritical stuff, fake stuff, phony stuff. You got to get real men and women in there that know how to make some change, period. Trying to do anything else ain't really going to make it work, in my opinion. All right. So I'm going to get to some more calls here. Yeah, Ayanna is bald. She has alopecia or something like that. She should get the skinhead bald, Wakanda forever. She got that whole thing going on. Let's get to the next one. All right, Skype caller, who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. It's Miss Girl POV on YouTube.
Everything is good. What's happening?
Great. So much is going on. But so real quick about the election, this is how I feel about it. We, the American people, we demand answers and we demand the truth. They're trying to make it seem like, Trump supporters we're crazy and we're nuts and we don't really understand what's going on. they're trying to make Trump seem like he doesn't really know what's going on. We know full well what's going on. The rest of America needs to wake up. So we demand the truth. So that's one thing. We deserve it. We deserve it. They shouldn't dismiss us. We want answers. So earlier, ABL, I asked a question on my video, and I said today, will the real Republican Trump supporters please stand up? And I believe that today they did. Cruz and the 11 other senators, they were represented well today. And I believe, though, that we have some Republican leaders who are straight, I'd say, lost in the sauce. Mm-hmm. And that's including Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell, the Georgia Secretary of State, and more. So my question to you, ABL, is how do we get all of the Republican leaders on the same page, which I believe the same page is we should be supporting our great president, President Trump. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, if somebody's in there right now and they don't think that they want to support Trump, they don't want to support him, it's kind of hard to get them to think otherwise. So it's kind of a lost cause. If they don't think so already, they had a long time to think so. I mean, it's been 4 years he's been in office. They should know by now if they want to support him or not. I think we got to look towards the future at this point, and we got to get people in office that are going to do right by us. If people are in there right now, they're not doing what we need them to do, you got to get competent men and women in there that can primary them and then come in and take over. Like I was saying earlier about Chunk Yogurt from Young Turks. He's part of a squad that put in the squad. He has a bunch of money. He got friends that got a bunch of money, and then they put them in. So then they want to take the left all the way to the left. If we want to, transform some things, we got to go about it in a similar way. That is how we go forward in the future. But for right now, if a person is like, I don't want to do it, I don't want to support it, what can we actually do to change their mind? Not much.
Right. I think you bring up a valid point. And it's just kind of sad that even, within the Republican Party, that there's division and there's some people who just, have turned their backs on President Trump or whatever. But we just need to come together. There's strength in numbers. And when when some people in leadership roles are getting lost in the sauce, it trickles on down. But I agree with you. Let's start fresh. Let's get some new people. I hope you run one day because you have my vote if you do, okay?
Well, I appreciate that.
But all right, ABL, that's it. But thank you so much for taking my call. I appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, that was Mixed Girl POV right here on the YouTube. Check her out. Check her channel out. Alrighty. The phone lines are blowing up. If you can't get in right now, don't blame me, blame the white man. It's not my fault. Let me get to the next one. The number to call, 434-658-1220. There's a Skype email in the box. You can be right there where Mixed Girl POV was. Talk about whatever's on your mind related to the topic in some kind of way. Let's get to the next one. All right, Victor, what's going on? Can you hear me, boss?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem, man.
Hey, freedom!
Talking about Kamala.
What's so funny that I talked to somebody last year about why they don't accept Melania Trump as First Lady. And she said that she doesn't deserve to be called First Lady because of her past and that she needs to redeem herself. Asks, how does she need to redeem herself? Well, one way is to not plagiarize Michelle Obama. After I showed him that she really didn't plagiarize Michelle Obama when she did her, I forgot what she actually did.
It was that speech,
huh?
It was that short speech she had.
It wasn't a speech, but it was one of the things that she wanted to implement. One of the things that she wanted to implement, and they said that she copied Michelle Obama implementation on healthy kids, but realized that no, she didn't. But she did say that when Melania Trump plagiarized, quote unquote plagiarized, I pointed out to him that well, what about Barack Obama? He plagiarized, but you accept him as your president. And he was like, oh, well, we're not talking about Barack Obama.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. This is the same thing as Kamala Harris. You have no problem with what Kamala Harris did, but you have a problem if Donald Trump plagiarized or Melania Trump plagiarized, and yet though you want to see her as a leader.
Right.
Yeah. So also about Kamala Harris, this is why I do not accept biracial people as black. I'm serious, because for one, how they just switch from one side to another. First she's Indian when she became a senator. Oh, now she's black when she's the vice president. She was Indian when she was with Mindy Lahiri. Oh, now she's black when she's talking to the Breakfast Club, which what got me so upset with that Breakfast Club interview is that when she was talking to Mindy Lahiri, it was so family oriented, and I have no issue with that, and I actually did enjoy that. But when she talked about the Breakfast Club, she connected her blackness to weed. And that got me so upset that that's how you really think about black people.
Right. Yeah. That was. But see, that's part of this whole, just, doing the whole stereotypical thing. Oh, I'm black. I gotta just fit into this mode, and that's what she thinks of us. It's pretty low, but not surprised.
Yeah. And then also another reason why I just don't accept biracial people as black is because why do you want to accept only one half of the person instead of the whole person?
Right.
That just doesn't make sense. And on top of that, as far as like calling Kaepernick black or calling Barack Obama black, their black half did not even raise them. I mean,
Facts.
how can you say that? Especially with Colin Kaepernick when he had a clan of white people that raised him. First his mom, then he got adopted by a white family.
Right. Brothers, sisters, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So with the riots, first off, I didn't agree with it. But what I don't like is the whole double standard. How they call this riot bad, but yet though they don't call the riots where they literally tore up businesses that had nothing to do with their riots and affected those people's lives. And they say that, well, it's justified. No, it's not justified. At least with this riot, they rioted. They went after what they're actually protesting. Didn't cause. I don't know if they caused as much damage as the other riots that happened in this country recently.
You say it one more time for me. You said who was causing?
I don't know if they caused as much damage as the other riots for the Jacob Blake and the George Floyd riots. Did they?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they said that the building was trash, but I'm not really sure what that means. Like papers and stuff on the ground. Are we talking about like serious damage? Like the Jacob Blake and all that stuff. You talking about structures burned down to the ground, garbage everywhere.
People's lives was ruined.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I don't think that's the same thing.
Yeah, and I understand the frustration, which, like, again, is wrong what they did, especially going after the symbol of the country. And I'm more upset with the court system that why didn't you just at least take the time to look at the evidence that's presented instead of saying that, oh, well, there's nothing that backed it up. Well, how can you say there's nothing back it up when you're not even taking the time to look at it?
Right.
That's the frustrating part. And I will get off. I will get off after I ask you this question. Is that hypothetically, what happened if they did look into it and saw massive voter fraud at that level? Do you think they will be afraid that if they did find something out, that the people would turn on them like they did today? And thanks for taking my call.
And thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, bye.
All right, to answer Victor's question, he was saying, what if they did find something? What if they did find like a bunch of evidence after an investigation? What would happen when they turn on them? I think that they might even be kind of afraid to do anything as far as any investigation, because if they come back and they say, oh, well, we found plenty of fraud and we got to overturn the election, it's going to cause a lot of civil unrest. The Capitol thing was nothing as far as civil unrest. The BLM and all of them, they engage in the civil unrest. You know, that's a fact. So they might be afraid of the civil unrest that could happen if they reveal some kind of information that has the election go a different direction. So I think that's what's going on. All right, let's get to the next call. 775 on the line was speaking to. 775, hello? Can you hear me?
I've been watching a bunch of different things today.
Dude, but I'll get to that. Hold on, caller. Turn your speakers down for me, please.
What?
Turn your speakers down for me, please.
Yeah.
Okay, you there?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I've been watching a lot of different things today, and on one channel I saw where there was a photograph that, rumor has it, was a selfie of Antifa breaking into the Capitol building.
I mean, that makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if that was happening.
Supposedly the shirt he was wearing actually had their emblem on it.
Okay.
So I'm not ready to believe that it was fellow patriots that initiated this. I know that some stated that they had been in the building, but I don't think it was them that initiated it.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I think that Antifa were out there and they, dressed as Trump supporters and antagonized it. And then other people that weren't antagonizing it just kind of joined in and went in. That probably did happen.
I firmly believe that. And I believed it before I even saw, the rhetoric about those pictures. And then I'm watching Congress, now that they've gone back in, and they're making statements that sounds like it was way more prepared than just in the last couple of hours, as if they were expecting already to be attacked today before they ever even walked in.
You said what now?
The speeches that they're making now after the fact.
Yeah.
Now that they're just, discussing whether or not to object, these speeches sound way too prepared to have been just put together in the last couple of hours.
Okay, so you're saying that
already.
So you're saying they were already getting ready to get attacked, so they were gonna have a speech for after they got attacked. I mean, I think that they may have had a speech already prepared and then adjusted it. But you never know. That's a good point. But I think they probably just adjusted the speech you already had prepared, just adding a couple of things here and there to a speech that was already done. That's what I think.
Yeah, well, some of them just had, introductory comments that, could have been last minute ideas. But some of these speeches were pages.
Right.
And it sounded way too prepared to have been a last minute thing.
I see what you're saying.
I think some of them had advance notice.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's definitely something that's possible. I don't know anything about that, but anything is possible. So I have to see some of these speeches you're talking about, because I've not heard all of them, but I got to see them just to kind of get a better understanding of what's going on.
Well, I just wanted to throw those things out there because I really think that there needs to be more investigation than what we're probably going to see. But I think there's still stuff going on today included that is way too shady.
Right. All right. Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Well, I want you to know I'm a big fan of yours, and I really appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Let's get to a few more here. 912, your line I'm speaking to. 912, hello? Can you hear me? Yeah, speakers in the background. Turn it down for me, please. Thank you for your call. Okay, caller, listen to me, caller. Turn your YouTube off. Turn YouTube off in the background.
What I wanted to say was earlier today we were watching the global news mostly anyway, and as I was watching it with my grandfather and my uncle, and it seemed like we were talking about how basically they want to poke and prod at us, and the media wants to stir up things all the time, and it seems like whenever we even stand up for ourselves, they it's like a bully picking on you. They poke at you and they poke at you, and then when you get mad, they want to say, "Oh, you're the crazy ones," right? And it seems like there's a difference with the way we act and the way we're treated, with and the way they act and the way they're treated. You know.
I see what you're saying.
It seems like we have no voice. All the major institutions are run by them. You know, social media wants to deplatform the president. I just don't know how we can do anything besides vote. Should we go door to door like maybe the Democrats probably do and try and inform people like we're informed? Because I know Democrats are low information voters. What do you think?
It's not a bad idea going door to door. I mean, I think alternative social media platforms are gonna happen. Because you have to be able to get information out there. We can't just rely upon the things that other people create for us. We can't rely upon the government. We can't rely upon these businesses that don't like us. We got to make things for ourselves. I'm not in favor of abandoning the platforms that are the main places where people get information, because we got to be able to inform the uninformed, and they're going to be on your mainstream social media outlets. So we got to be there to inform them. But at the same time, we can't rely upon those platforms exclusively to get our voice out. Prime example, just take me for example. I'm what you may call an influencer, but I'm not just on YouTube. That's not my only place. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I got my website. Now I got my BitChute account. I may even do a Parler. I'm going to be everywhere, so you can't escape me. If they try to shut me down on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, I'm over here. I got my website. I'm building myself up. So that's really the main way. Having yourself be everywhere and have certain hubs of information that get built up. People know they go there for information. And then if you can't get social media to somebody, go door to door, talk to your friends and family, figure out a way to spread the information to inform the uninformed.
Yeah, that was very helpful. Sometimes I watch these things and it makes me feel like they want a civil war or something, you know? And I know that people like us, we're really very peaceful. They want to say that we're, in favor of the shooting that happened earlier, even though that was a Trump supporter that got shot. Lie about us on TV, make everybody else hate us. Officials telling other people that vote for them to bother us and harass us, And sometimes I don't think that there's any hope,
I hear you.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you for the call.
And I like watching you, by the way.
Well, thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you for your very kind words.
All right. Bye-bye.
All righty. Great call. Let's get to a few more calls here. All right. Skype caller, who am I speaking to?
Oh, hello there.
All righty, man. What's going on?
What's going on? I see you here in YouTube. I am Brazilian, So sorry about my English, but I seen what's going on in the United States, and Biden, when he was making his speech, is talking about go here and made some shit to Brazil people. What do you think about this? If Biden falls, do you think Trump will try to apologize, or if Biden stays, the situation is gonna be very, very hard towards Brazilian.
So he was saying, what about Brazil? Like, what was he going to do with Brazil? I didn't hear that part.
Is threatening us
He's going to strike you?
because of not exactly. He's talking about do something about Bolsonaro and
Well,
make it.
that's just saber rattling. He won't do anything because what's he going to do with a foreign power? He's not going to go try to invade Brazil because that's a big geopolitical figure that will cause problems with other countries. China relies on Brazil. South America relies on Brazil. It wouldn't make any sense. Africa is still kind of connected. Portugal, that'd be dumb. If you try to do something with Bolsonaro, now you got to do it with China. You got to do it with other parts of South America. That'd just be a dumb decision. So that's just him talking. He won't do anything.
Yeah, I know. What I seen what's going on in the United States, and it's very good to see that people is reacting to this that shit that's going on there about this election. Everybody is in doubt about this. If is, or I would say, if this is everybody is voting for Biden, or is a stealing election, and people is trying to react to resolve this. And this is great because Brazil and the whole world is going to be affected to this election if Biden wins, because United States is one of the most powerful countries, and we need to think about all the people who is suffering about in the power of who will suffer in the power of Biden if they try to make the wrong decision like Obama did with the Middle West.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think that it's not just the United States that has an issue with Biden. It'd be the whole world. Like you said, just with Obama doing things over there with different countries that he shouldn't have been doing. That's definitely a big point. And then also, Biden has a history of some corruption allegedly with other countries like Eastern Europe, Ukraine, Moldova, stuff like that. So that's definitely a big point. It's not just about us; it's about the entire world for sure.
Exactly. And the United States is the most powerful country in the world, and we need to be people around the world is worried about Biden, not because they are far right people, followers, but because they understand that if Biden won, they're gonna make things difficult to everybody in the world. And everybody's talking about this big reset. What do you think about this? Is that true, or is just some kind of nonsense from the left?
Well, I don't know a lot about it, but I have heard Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, talk about the Great Reset. And I think that people that are in power, like Justin Trudeau and other leaders of the world, they may want to take this whole virus thing where the economy is depressed, people are shut down, they can't work. They may want to use that to do the whole Great Reset. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know a lot about it, but it is a real thing that people are talking about that are in high levels of power in government all over the world.
Yeah, that's very worrying. But what I would say, thanks, man, for answering my calling. And sorry about my English. I'm trying to learn and trying to study this hard. And I hope one day we're gonna meet somebody like you here, or are gonna go to the United States and meet people there.
Well, I thank you for your call.
Thanks.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, great call from Brazil. Shout out to the Brazilians. All right, all over the world. We got callers all over the planet. I like it. All right, let's get to some more. All right, calling on line. Speaker to 617.
Hey, man. ABL.
What's going on?
What's going on? Now, so why these people went to the Capitol building? I just don't understand the logic.
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I mean, you're the producer of a show. You're the one who have 750,000 subscribers. So you know that the decision. Who made the decision of this allegations made by the Trump administration by his lawyers to be false.
Who did what now?
Who the Trump administration made allegation of border fraud, right? That's a criminal offense. Who dismissed these allegations?
Who dismissed them?
Yeah.
Well, there's been quite a few dismissals, and there's been quite a few things that are still kind of ongoing. There's not just one person or one entity that did anything or that did not do anything.
Okay, so who can not overturn the election, but who could make extensions to say, well, we need to oversee this, we want more organization. Who could make that decision? Which branch of government made that decision?
I don't know.
You don't know? And you a show producer? I mean,
I'm not. Hey, wait. Hold on. Wait. I'm gonna talk, sir. I'm gonna talk. You can't overtalk me. Now, you asked me a question. I don't know anything about that. I've not spoken about that. I don't know everything. Now, if I spoke about it and I don't know about it, then you could say, all right, you don't know what you're talking about. But I've not spoken about that. I don't know anything about that. So, no, I don't know. Now, you could tell me if you know. But see, look, you were still talking while I was talking. Did you hear what I asked you? Sir, did you hear what I asked you? You got to just be, hey, man, look, listen. I can't even hear you right now. If you're still talking, I can't hear you, but you got to play ball, sir. Like, if I talk, you got to stop talking and then let you talk. I'll give you the floor if you let me get the floor. That's how it's going to work. So you good with that?
Okay, but what are you going to say? Some BS?
No, just let me talk. It's my show. Now, the whole thing is, I don't know anything about what you were asking me. So, I mean, I don't know. So, do you know?
My question is, you keep saying that, yeah, there were border fraud. We know there was fraud, but you don't have no evidence there was fraud, and then you don't put any evidence from the court cases because they went to the courts, to the local courts, all the way to the federal courts in Virginia, in Michigan, in Georgia, and they couldn't find any evidence of fraud.
Well, that's my opinion. My opinion, like I said, I've been saying. Wait. I'm not done. I'm not done talking. Not done talking. My opinion is that there's voter fraud, and I also think that there was not enough of an investigation. They took 3 years for the Russiagate situation, 3 years, $40 million, 500 subpoenas. So if they took that long for Russiagate, maybe they could take more than a month or two for this whole voting fraud investigation to play out. That's just my humble opinion.
Okay, that's your opinion, but that's opinion and reality. 2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 is 4. That's a fact. But you could say 2 + 2 is 9, but it's not 9.
So what is the fact here?
The fact is that there were internal investigations. Trump lawyers allegated that there were border fraud from dead people were voting. They couldn't come out with one incident, only one, and the person that voted for the last 3 previous elections for a dead person, and this time voted for Trump. The last 2 times voted for Trump.
So is it impossible for there to be any more investigations into voter fraud? Because the question is it impossible for there to be any more investigations into voter fraud? Yes or no question? Please answer.
There could be more, but then there's no.
All right then. So that's all I want is more.
Okay,
so we agree.
Hillary should want more investigation then. Hillary should have investigation. Then Obama should have investigation. McCain should have investigation.
And so wait.
George Bush Sr. should have investigation.
And so wait.
John Kerry should have investigation.
And so wait.
So you don't trust in our system. So you don't trust the electoral system.
Wait. You said you're talking about Hillary and all the other having more investigation. Investigation in the way.
Because Hillary was favored to win the election, and Trump ended up winning. So Hillary could say, "How come I lost? Because I was in all the poll. It was hot. How come I lost?"
So was there any allegations of voter fraud? Was there any allegations of voter fraud or any kind of illegality going on?
Because there was nothing.
But sir, the question was there any allegation of voter fraud or anything of the sort?
Because she's not a BS like
Answer the
Trump.
Question, sir. Answer
she's
the question.
Not a BS like
So the answer is no. So if the answer is no, then why would there be an investigation into anything? It makes no sense. And it's not even Trump just by himself out here saying, "Oh, well, it's fraud going on." It's people that are out there on the ground, people that are trying to vote, and they're being told, "Oh, you already voted." It's a lot of that type of stuff going. People have witness accounts, eyewitness accounts that are divorced from Trump. People that are Democrats are coming out and saying there's things going on that's wrong. People that hate Trump saying things are going on that's wrong. So it's not just a Trump thing. This is a real thing. And then the biggest thing here that's different from the other elections that we had in the past was the universal mail-in ballots. We've not had that before. We've had absentee ballots where you ask for a ballot and it's given to you, not just having ballots just being sent to anybody that's on a poll. You know, you had one lady that got 6 ballots sent to her house of prior tenants. You don't have that type of thing under absentee balloting, which is what we already had that worked very well. So this election was very unique. It was the first one of its kind. Therefore, there was more allegations of voter fraud than in prior elections. But go ahead.
You trust the electoral system in America, yes or no?
Do I trust it? Yeah, I trust it.
No, so then you trust it. So we believe that Trump made allegation of voter fraud. We couldn't find no allegation of voter fraud to the extent that will change the outcome of the election, right? So,
but you already agreed. I'm gonna speak now. You can be quiet. You're gonna beat me. I can't hear you either. We've already agreed that there's room for more investigations. I trust the legal system as well. That does not mean that if a case is lightly investigated, that I don't want to see investigated anymore. You know, I don't want to just have a cold case be out there and nobody investigate what's going on. I trust our system. I trust the process to be able to investigate and find the actual root of the problem. That's what I trust. I don't just say, oh, well, whatever. Not even, don't even look into it. Just look into it briefly and don't even worry about it anymore. And I also know that there can be some errors. There could be some accidents that happen. Maybe somebody didn't do it on purpose, but maybe there were some things that happened that weren't supposed to happen. So look into it some more and then figure out what's going on. But I give you the last word.
So they did look into it. They do recon all these counties, all these votes they banned, right? 4 times. They couldn't find any allegation of fraud. Extension to have the changes of the elections. I mean, Biden won. That's it. He won. But this guy keeps saying that the same thing because his voters, his supporters believe him. His supporters, I don't like to use the word dumb, but they're dumb. That when you have somebody like that means you are a dummy. The same way he said that 3 million people voted for 10 million illegal people voted for Hillary when he lost by 3 million votes. Exactly, he said 3 million voted. His own Justice Department did an investigation. Well, they couldn't find anything.
Wrap it up because we got
so
no more time.
That means you're a dummy. You're a dummy.
All right, okay, that's great.
Okay, all right, man. That's all what I have to say. Tell your audience they stop being falling in love with this fool.
Okay.
They're being played by this clown.
Have a nice day.
All right, good night.
Oh, wow. So, hey, who says I don't have anybody on that has a different point of view? That's what I want. I don't want to echo chamber on different points of view. So we got to have everybody. But that's your boy who comes on and calls all the time, watches the show. So it is what it is. All right, let's get to some more calls. 804, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, 804, who am I speaking to?
This is Ryan Davis, baby. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. I just want to talk on that last caller, man. He calling in talking about all this crazy stuff about how the courts wasn't threw all the cases out, but they never even looked at the evidence, man.
That's what I'm saying. Let's look at the evidence and figure out what's going on rather than just not just dismissing it right away.
Yeah, that's what's killing me, ABL. They're not looking at the evidence at all. They and then the news media putting out there that, oh, see, the courts threw it out. There's no evidence. No, the courts didn't even look at the evidence. They just said, no, we're dismissing it because we're scared. And see, that's the last caller don't realize that. He needs to know that, hey, there's plenty of evidence. The court's just too scared to pick it up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but I just wanted to call in and say that, man. I'm from Cartersville, Virginia, baby. I'm here with you. So I just wanted to call in and say that.
All right, thank you for your call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, thanks, bud.
All right, now. Bye. Shout out to the caller from good old VA. All righty. The calls are blowing up. I'm going to try to get to everybody as soon as I can. Y'all just hang tight. All righty, caller, what's going on?
Hey man, how are you? Long time no see. How you been?
Everything's been great, man. Can't complain.
Good. I'm glad everything's not on fire.
Yeah, there's no fires over here. Everything's okay.
Oh, that's because Antifa didn't do the rioting.
That's right. Well, they did the first initial agitating, but they weren't really the main people out there.
Well, that's what I wanted. That's one of the things I wanted to ask about. Is it? I mean, do we know that that's who actually started the agitation?
People that were out there that I know are telling me that it was like a mixture. It wasn't just, one or the other. It was like you had Antifa out there and also just regular people that were like Trump supporters.
Right. So, I've heard it said from some people that it was all peaceful until they got to the Capitol. It was one of the ladies on the news said it's all peaceful till we got to the Capitol. Tens of thousands of people out there, and then suddenly, they get to the Capitol and like maybe 50 to 100 people start breaking in, rushing in. I saw a couple of fist fights. I don't see any armed people. A couple of guys with look like fire extinguishers or something. But then they have an inside shot of the Capitol with people walking through, and it looked like they were on tour. I mean, they didn't even knock over the cue stands, with the little ropes between them.
Yeah, they were walking like in single file, like it was a school field trip.
Yeah. What's it, to equate that with like the Antifa riots and such? Is that not insulting to people? I mean,
very much so, very much so. And I think that anytime a thing like this goes on, that the media want to blow it out of proportion. They want to say, "Oh, this is the worst thing ever." They were acting like the Capitol was on fire and they were trying to kidnap the president or something crazy like that. But
that's what I'm saying. If this was BLM, man, I mean, you'd see flames coming out of there.
Correct.
It's 6:00 and somebody's reporting from outside the Capitol, and there's
they're back inside working. Tim Scott posted a tweet of himself back inside like 8:00. So if that were BLM, that would not be the case.
Yeah, I've got the live CNN. It's not CNN. What is this? C-SPAN. Oh, it's Fox. Oh, anyway, yeah, they're back at it. But how long do you think since Pence didn't do the what Trump calls trustworthy thing to say I have to put these up and then send it back to the Senate, the state senates to choose the electors. Since he didn't do that, how many people do you think are going to be objecting now, and how long do you think that's going to last?
They're already finished. It's like I think it was only 3 objectors in the Senate.
Oh, I've got it sound off here, so I can't tell. There are only 3 objections, so that's 2 hours per person. So I thought there were supposed to be hundreds.
What? Yeah, it was. What you mean, like in the Senate? It's only 100 in the Senate.
Well, no. In Congress, there were all these objections because one person can have more than one objection, right? So there were all these.
I see what you mean. So yeah. I'm just speaking about like the people that actually objected. I think there was only 3 people that objected, but I'm not really sure about the number of objections that they may have had each.
Right. So there's supposed to be a 2-hour debate per objection, accordingly. So back in, I think it was like 1876, they had, between Hayes, they had all these people objecting, and it literally lasted for months because inauguration wasn't until March back then, right? Well, we can't do that now because January 20th is in the Constitution. I'm just kind of wondering, is Trump going to be, after these riots and stuff today, which are not anything that I would worry about, they're already back to business. If these guys are causing such mayhem in quotes from the news version, mayhem, is that going to put a damper on Trump or anybody else being able to run again in 4 years? I don't know that he wants to, but I think a lot of people want him to, maybe. I don't know. Thoughts?
I mean, no, not really, because the people that vote for Trump, people that are conservative, they know what's going on. They know that this is not what the media are making it be. It's the same thing. It's the same as Charlottesville, really. It's the same thing. Charlottesville was,
How's that?
It's the same, because Charlottesville wasn't that bad either.
No. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so it wasn't that bad. Like, unfortunately, the one lady died, but it wasn't like this big riot and this big race thing, people getting lynched. It wasn't that. And people know that. So, you know, the Charlottesville thing happened after Trump got elected, but yet Trump still gained 10 million more votes this time. So I don't think it's really going to affect it. I think the main thing we got to worry about is big tech and their influence on the elections, and also the liberals controlling a lot of institutions, you know, academia, big tech, of course, everything. They control so much that we rely on, and they control information.
Georgia won now.
Huh?
Especially since they won Georgia now.
Yeah, and Georgia, that was going to happen eventually because of the demographic shift.
Yeah, that was at the California,
New York, California, moving out there, liberals moving out there from all over the world to Atlanta. You know, I live not far from Atlanta. I could drive. I'm in Atlanta a lot, and I see it. You know, it's not the same way it was like 20 years ago. It's different.
Yeah, I've been back in the States in 20 years. Yeah, I'm wondering, personally, you know, from overseas, I feel kind of like I'm in exile, and I'm wondering how this shift is going to affect things like, you know, how do I pay my taxes? Am I going to be able to do things over here? I mean, that's just from like a kind of an American, from a foreigner point of view. But people in the States, if it's completely Democratic run, I mean, is there a possibility that Republicans are going to win an office again?
It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge regardless nationally because of all the kickback that we're going to get from the left. But locally, it's not going to be that bad because you still have plenty of red states that are going to be red, and I think people people are getting more awake when it comes to politics, and they're going to be more involved in politics. There'll be the new blood that's out there running, and they're going to be the ones that are winning these elections locally.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to run on the Republican ticket, though.
Locally, they can locally, but nationally, I'm not really sure. As far as like a third party, that's not really going to work because regular normies are conditioned to think left, right, Democrat, Republican. So you try to introduce a new party, it's not really going to get the traction. You already got the libertarians. They don't get much traction nationally. Locally, sometimes they do okay.
After this, do you think that's going to be true? Because, I mean, a lot of the silent majority are not Republican or Democrat. They're just kind of on the fence one way or the other, and they may or may not necessarily care all that much about politics.
Most people
do.
Most people don't know a lot about politics. All they know is Democrat or Republican. Like the average person is not. They're not like us. They don't know. They go to the poll and they think, okay, I'm gonna vote red or blue. That's it. So the people
they see from the news is
the people that are really kind of awake and understand, they may kind of vote differently, but that won't be enough to make a difference. But hey, man, thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, man, you got a lot of people getting to you. That's great, man. Thanks for doing this, and God bless.
All right, now take care.
Amen.
Yeah, people say third party, but that ain't. You got libertarians. You got quite a few parties in America. It's not just two parties. We have a two-party system, but it's not just two parties, if that makes sense. The two-party system is where things are kind of just one way or the other, split down the middle. You know, you got more than two parties in office. You got the libertarians and independents or whatever. They're in office. Like, a prime example is Rand Paul. Rand Paul's a libertarian, yes. He's in office, but he's going to vote with the Republicans on pretty much everything. For the most part, he rarely will break away. So does it even matter that he's on the libertarian ticket? Does it matter, really? If you're going to vote for the Republicans or with them all the time? Your personal convictions locally will make a difference. When it comes to national, it don't make a difference. That's why I say you can have some effect locally by being a third party, but nationally, you got to kind of get out and lay down. But let me get to the next call. 312, you the line. What speaker to?
Hey, Bill.
Yes, sir. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, man. This is actually the second time that I've called you. I was the guy from Chicago. I called you maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Omar.
All right, man. What's going on?
Oh, man. I got to admit, I was watching this dude, Steve Turley, and then he's reporting. It's oh, they're inside the Capitol. I'm like, what? So I started looking at everything that was progressing. I was like, oh, man, this shit is – sorry. I don't know if you allow cursing, but I won't get too flavorful with it. But
appreciate it.
Yeah, no, this stuff is insane, man. I'm talking about And it's like the hypocrisy too. It's like, okay, I get the whole, Black Lives Matter. They want to make a point and everything. But like, say for example, I went to the elementary school. It's over here on the west side of Chicago, right? It's called Crown Community Academy. So the little girl, she got shot and she died, right? But BLM wasn't out there, didn't do anything, right?
Of course.
So it's not, they're not acting on what they're preaching. So now you see, like, I don't know if it was the Proud Boys or Antifa doing all this other crazy shit. So, like, say, for example, they went out there, they started protesting, and who knows, they might have been, like, the little crowd pocket that kind of, like, stirred up the pot and, like, okay, let's go inside there. And, like, you know what? Yeah. Pence just kind of stabbed us in the back. Let's go and do this, like, crazy shit. Who knows, right?
No question, please.
Oh, sorry about that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, sorry, my Chicago-ness is kind of showing.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, this is just crazy, man. In the sense of like, okay, if they were really planning to do like real damage, they should have brought Molotov cocktails, defecated in some of the seats, or like make a little disgusting point, right? But they didn't.
Yeah.
Right. And like, God forbid. Well, actually, yeah, the lady, she lost her life, but it kind of comes with the territory. Like, you're not supposed to be there. You guys are, making a point, and when you make a point, you gotta give and take. Sometimes you can't really accommodate for what is being given and what's being taken. And like for anything, like I support them in what they did, and it's like it's kind of frowned upon over here because everyone's like real extremely left wing, and it's hard to speak out on like what you actually want to talk about. So it's like, I kind of feel like George Orwell's 1984 is actually happening now. And it's crazy. Like, this dude predicted it, like, 50, 70, whatever, decades ago? So it's a little, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, say, for example, like, yeah, no, that came way out of left field, like, pun intended with Pence. But I guess I get his position, like he wants to uphold the Constitution, and he's looking at the parameters of what he can and cannot do. And like, I can see why Congress didn't want to do it, because imagine like what happened at the nation's capital, right? What would actually happen, what would have happened in the Supreme Court,
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of see why they didn't want to touch it, because like, oh, something like this might happen in the future, and this ended up happening. Like, what's your point of view on it?
On what specifically? Because you gave me a lot, so I'm not really sure what you asking specifically.
Oh, specifically, do you think it was a good action for, the proud Americans, whether you agree or not, or like your viewers or don't agree or do agree? Do you think that was the best choice? Because I think that it was, because they didn't go to like their neighborhoods and starting up drama or anything. They didn't burn down anything. They went to like the source of like the legislators that can actually make a difference. And like, I feel like they put more of a pressure on them than everybody else. And in a way, it didn't really go as planned, but they made a point, and I can stand behind it. So
nah, I don't like it. I don't like it because they didn't need to go inside and do all that, and then the young lady got killed. I think that they could have stayed outside and made their point. If they would have mobbed up like in a big crowd outside and been protesting out there peacefully, they would have made their point very well. They didn't have to go inside and do all that and take selfies and do stupid stuff for Instagram. That was unnecessary. And then it didn't. And then it didn't do anything, because all they did was clean the blood up from the ground, took her to the hospital where she passed away, unfortunately, cleaned the blood up, and got right back to work. Tim Scott's in there right now at 8:00 p.m. He was in there Eastern time. Like nothing happened. So it was a brief interruption. All it did was just cause embarrassment, and then it's going to be a thing they're going to use against us for quite a long time. The same thing in Charlottesville. So I think that they could have just been outside, made their point peacefully. We've done it before. I was a part of marches where we did the same thing, where it was all peaceful. We didn't go and storm nothing and do nothing like that. So I'm against that part. I don't think it was necessary or fruitful. That's just my opinion, though. People think differently, and that's fine.
No, I definitely get your point. Maybe I didn't, like choose my words and like get my narrative out clearly.
I understand.
Like my point is like, you know how like social media spins everything. like right now, I can't like go on to Pluto TV. I'm watching it. Everything's coming out. What's happening? I go on to Steve Turley. I try to. Steve Crowder's not even doing anything, so I don't know what's happening with that. But you know how they can put the spin on it. So I'm looking at. So I'm like, all right. I digress a little bit.
No, it's all good, man.
But yeah, no, it's just it's like how they put the spin. If anything, if I was like the director of like this political movie that we're kind of seeing, right? I'll be like, okay, put some Antifa in there. For if anything purpose, like a good argument to be made on my part. It's like, if anything, those dudes that got really cutesy and sat in the seat and took for the gram and the Instagram and whatnot, those dudes could have just easily been Antifa, just like making it work.
That's what I'm saying, exactly, man. But thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. I appreciate you too answering, man. You keep doing what you're doing, and we'll keep watching over here from the south side of Chicago.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, man.
All right. I got time for one more, maybe. 469 your line. I'm speaking to.
Hello?
Yeah, so much speaking to.
Yeah, she's speaking with Marcus, man.
All right, man. I got a little feedback in the back. Turn speakers down for me, please.
Okay, I got you. There you go.
All right, what's going on?
Man, I just want to say this here, dude. I'm right here watching C-SPAN, and I'm from Dallas, Texas, dude. I'm black. I voted Trump both times when he voted against Hillary. I voted this year. Dude, these Republicans turned their back on him. They know that China had something to do with this voter dominion. Everybody know that they was using all these illegal aliens to vote for Trump, and it's like nobody in this party is standing up for him, and everybody turned their back on him because they trying to save their own political career. But people getting tired of this mess, man, because basically what the Democrats just showed us, no matter what we think, we don't. Our vote is not an election; it's a selection. No matter what we vote for, hey, they're gonna pick who they want at the end of the day. And man, oh my God, this sucks. This just sucks, man.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but see, my thing is this: if people aren't doing what they should be doing in our eyes, then we gotta get them out because we voted them in. We voted them in, and they're in there, and they're not doing what we want them to do. We got to get them out of there. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it. What they did at the Capitol didn't solve anything because all they did was come back in there.
Give them ammo.
Huh?
They gave them ammo. They gave them ammo and fuel against Trump. And
correct.
They gave them ammo against us because Antifa been burning up everything. And I think it was some agent provocateurs that came in anyway and seized the Capitol in the first place. It's some people that they bust in. Soros and Bloomberg and them, they got all that good money, man. The same way they did it in all the rides everywhere else, and they was putting the bricks down and everywhere else. And people they're not thinking. They're thinking with emotion. They're not using their brain. And when you gravitate to what they initiated, it makes us look bad in the end. Because in the end, they're going to use this narrative. Oh, they burned up the Capitol. They breached the Capitol. Someone was shot. Now, this young lady done lost her life by a scary police guard, done shot her through a window. Like, man, this is crazy, though, but this country needs some healing. And there's Republicans, Democrats. If the people not doing what they're supposed to do, it's too many career politicians. Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, all these people been in office over 40, 50 years. They should put term limits. 4 years max. If you only could be president 8 years, right? And you can never be president again.
Correct.
Why isn't it like that for the Senate? Because that's the problem. Because no matter who you have in the president can't do anything without the Senate and the Congress. Put term limits on them.
Facts. I agree with that 100% because they're in there. They could pretty much do whatever. They can maintain power forever. If the president can't do it, then they shouldn't be able to do it either. So I agree with you. Facts.
Right. And they're going to circumvent the presidency. The president, yes, he can veto, but Congress could come together and go past that veto. You know what? That veto lasts to the next president. Like, no, man, I feel like this here, dude. And this is just my opinion. And I might, people are going to look at me wrong for this. I really don't care. They just need to flush the whole, start over, man. Because the electoral college out is broken, man. It's like the criminal justice system with blacks and whites. It's broken. Because I noticed something. Those guards wasn't trying to stop those people. Those guards was walking past those people as if they were on vacation or something. Because it's guards that feel the same way we feel. This some rigged stuff, and people getting tired of it. And I hate to say it, if the country keep going the way it's going, it's going to implode from inside. We're gonna do like Russia. We're gonna be like Rome. It's gonna start from the inside out. And these other countries that's over there playing puppet masters, and all these bought politicians. You see all the bought and Pence. Oh my God, I don't even want to get on that. But man, I don't want to take up your time. I want somebody else to have a time to call in. I just want to voice my opinion, and that's how I feel.
All right, thank you for your call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Same to you. All right. Excellent call. Excellent call. But, hey, I got to go, y'all. This has been a great, great show. Excellent show. Excellent callers. If you couldn't get on right now, it's not my fault. You got to blame the white man. Joking, of course. Don't nobody get triggered by that. Somebody got triggered earlier. Oh, I got your white man right here. Anyway, thank y'all for being here. I got super chats to read, and then I'm wrapping it on up, put the bow on the top. If you enjoyed what you heard so far, give me a thumbs up on the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Maybe you were subscribed and got unsubscribed from me for some reason. Go ahead and subscribe to me right now and click that bell right there so you get notified whenever I go live and or post a new video. I got super chats on deck right quick, and then I'm wrapping on up, put the bow on the top. And shout out to the mods for doing a great job. Rapper 10,000, thank you, sir. I got Nate Logan, my wife, of course. Thank you. And then who else? I got, I think I saw Killer Sushi earlier. I think I saw Ansel earlier. Bill from the Hills, of course. Charlton Jr. All you guys, thank you for doing what you do. Keeping the trolls in check. I appreciate it. It's been a good show. But yeah, I'm going to say this before I get to super chats. We got to just do things right. Trying to go in there and, taking selfies. Like, what guys are doing in there for real was just, I saw everybody had their cell phone like this, filming. Like, that ain't going, what's that going to do? You got some good footage for the gram. Okay, now you also got a federal penitentiary sentence for breaking into a federal building. For what, though? Do things the right way. I said it earlier. Chunk Yogurt, is that his name? Chunk Yogurt from Young Turks. You know what I'm talking about. The guy with the square blockhead looking like a Eric Roland Martin. But anyway, Chunk Yogurt got a bunch of money and got what some other guys got a bunch of money and then put forth Justice Democrats. He's the one that's behind Ilhan Omar, AOC, Jamal Bowman, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Cori Bush. He's behind all of them. And his objective is to push Congress all the way far to the left. That's his whole goal. And he's made some inroads, okay? We got to do a similar thing on our side. We can't just say, oh, we got to bump in the road and give up. We got to push forward. Trying to just break into the Capitol and take selfies ain't going to do nothing but get you some content for TikTok before you do your federal penitentiary sentence. You be trying to get a cell phone behind bars and be a penitentiary TikToker. But I digress. Super chats on deck, and then I'm going to go ahead and get to the end. Let me get back to where I was. Let me see. Thank you to Carson 310 who says, doesn't Trump still need 30 votes on Congress? I don't know anything about that. But thank you for your donation. Thank you to JC Warlock who says, all this did was give Pelosi the presidency. That's what I'm saying. Shout out to Catchell. I'm turning your name up. Kat, I'm going to just say Kat, K-A-T, who says, did you see the articles about the main face and leader being an actor and all the photos of himself he posted with politicians and etc.? I saw that. The guy with the Viking horns and stuff like that and the Thor hammer and the triangles and stuff on his chest. Yeah, I saw he was an actor. And he's been at several other different rallies, a BLM rally and everything else. All right. Andrew Rivera, thank you for your donation. Thank you to Grace Asher, who says, you are a patriot and we all love you and your lady. Thank you. I appreciate you. John D says, freedom. You have to pay for what you break. Shout out to Helen Kelly, who says, so why did the police make it so easy for the demonstrators? They wanted violence. Thank you to Ashley Miller for your donation. Shout out to Janine, who says, CNN is saying that Republican leaders are calling for Trump's immediate removal from office. I doubt it. What's the point of doing that? It's January 6th. If Joe Biden is going to be the next president, you only got 14 days, 2 weeks. Ain't no point. Thank you to Jack Matt 13, who says Loeffler backed out and didn't reject the electors. 75 million voters didn't breach the Capitol building today. That's a cowardly and weak excuse. Good point. That gets to High All, who says, my mind keep thinking about the fall of Rome with Julius Caesar, where the people love him, the politicians hated him. It feels like what's happening now. Thank you to Lawfish66, who says, hey, brother, thanks for the stream. What do you think is going to happen to our rights as a result today? We're going to lose everything. That ain't going to happen. Don't worry about that. Thank you to Lisa Hamilton for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to Ben RP, who says they want Heels Up Harris as president. Thank you to My Identity is in Christ, who says, ABL, not just a bump in the road. Have you looked at World Economic Forum's Great Reset? They have a massive partnership with public and private entities all over the world. They help get Democrat run 3 branches and behind censorship, just the beginning. Thank you to My Name is Beyond Your Comprehension, who says, if you tell people they are something enough, then they become that person. Do they know what they're making of patriotism? Thank you to Laura for your donation, who says, thank you for broadcasting the truth. Can't do nothing else but that. Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. Shout out to Jesse, who says, did you see the Twitter post of the recording saying that they have phone calls, solid evidence, etc. of Obama and the Ministry of Italy altering the votes? I've not seen that, but I'd love to see it. Let me see. Thoughts on Rod Charper? Thank you to Raj Roper, who says, thoughts on Lindsey Graham. He said Biden and Harris were lawfully elected. That's his opinion. I mean, he will say that because he does not have, in his what is in his opinion, evidence of the contrary. So that's what he'll say. That's his opinion, though. Thank you to Jesse. I read that one. Thank you to White Run Guard, who says, did you see the Twitter post? White Run Guard says the Republicans are spineless. Not one of them will even challenge the open corruption and illegitimate voters in these states. We would never have a Republican in office again. Don't be so doom and gloom. I think we'll get past this. Thank you to Mixed Girl POV for the donation, who says, thank you for all that you do. We appreciate you and your lovely wife. Thanks for taking my call and for the shout out. God bless. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Shout out to Mixed Girl POV. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to her channel right now. Thank you to Blake Hutchinson, who says, I think that was Antifa at the Capitol. I believe so as well. Thank you to BearBay01, who says, ABL, we have an information issue. It's not that the left is not informed. It's that they are not informed with the right information. MAGA forever. Yeah, you know, that's a good point. Like Ronald Reagan say, the liberal is not, I don't want to misquote him, but he was basically saying the same thing. It's like the liberal is not uninformed, it's misinformed. That's the problem. Thank you to Beth Speak Truth 7, who says, Pence contradicted himself. He's a coward. Watch Bannon's War Room to know the legality. I'll check it out. Thank you to Masu Tar for your donation. And shout out to Gerard S. Moore for the thumbs up emoji donation. Thank you to Team Countermeasure, who says, what do you think about Nikki Haley for 2024 GOP? Ain't no different than any other, just, I won't say Mitt Romney, but kind of like the same thing, kind of a company girl. If the party has a different message and a different way they want to go forward beyond Trump, like as long as they don't go back to George W. 2000s, then we'll be good. Thank you to Kimmy, who says, oh, and Masutara says, there's a pic on Twitter of a guy from a BLM protest in Arizona who's been spotted at the Capitol. Check out Kellerman Curry on Twitter. Thank you to Kimmy, who says, unbelievable, APL. I'm here with you as election night. Antifa and the Democrats set this up today. Antifa breached the hearing blame today on President Trump's sisters. It's my sister's birthday. God bless America. And I think I got everybody. Thank y'all for being here yet again. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. I'll be back again live on Saturday of this week at the same time at 8 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll be doing my regular talk in the first hour, and then I'll take phone calls in the last 2 hours. And shout out to the last donation here from Thomas, who says, I loved and mourned the country that I served, and love is dead. I have no country anymore. Let's not be so doom and gloom. We had Barack Obama for 8 years, and it was the same people in there that's going to try to be in there now. And we still here. We're living and breathing, and everything's all right. That's just life, though. Up and downs. Y'all know I know about up and downs. My dad passed away. That's a down. But I have to look forward. I can't just say it's over with because I had a tragedy. I have to be able to keep going forward. That's just life. And I've had a lot of tragedy in my life, a lot of bad things in my life. And I know that all that I can do is go forward. That's what we got to do today. You got to bump in the road. You got to go forward. if there are things that you see that aren't right, you got to go about it the way that everyone else does. In my humble opinion, that's just how I look at it. I said with Chunk Yogurt, he had a bunch of money and put AOC and everybody else in office. We got to do the same thing on our side and not just allow them to do whatever they want to do to us. We got to play the game. We can't just be spectators, get mad at they beating us in the game, and then want to go in and fight them because they winning. We got to play the game and win their game, or win the game. It ain't their game, it's the game. Okay? That's just how I see it. But thank y'all for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. So I'll be back on Saturday of this week at 8 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern. Talk for the first hour, phone call the last 2 hours, and then this video will be available as audio only on your favorite streaming platform. iTunes, the G Play. I don't want to say the word to trigger your device. The G Play, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, wherever you are. And that will be all I got for tonight. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.